right, and we're here with Zone Control number 3, here to get you up to speed with all the stupid shit that has been happening recently.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I say it's normal personally. That's just my personal statement, though. I mean,
Yeah. Don't try to get to Magical's normal. We got Stuart, Icer, and McCloud. Icer these days because well,
Ice is much nicer.
yeah,
nicer is nicer.
doesn't want to be a stupid cunt anymore.
Hey, I'm still a stupid cunt. I'm just a differently named stupid cunt.
No. He's just stupid now. That's what it is.
Hashtag reformed.
There we go. I feel like I'm fitting in with the club.
Also, we got Alex Wheeldon, Magical. Pretty much says it all.
You pronounced his surname wrong. I believe it's pronounced Whale Dong in his dialect.
In my Californian dialect, yes.
Yeah.
That's what it
It's
is.
Weldon.
Well, then.
Oh my god, it's
Like-
Whaleden,
Like a
thank
Becky.
you.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh my
God.
god.
All right, let's go. So, I want to start this off with the most obvious topic that everybody has been talking about. What the fuck is going on in this meta?
Like I said, it's normal if you ask me. I mean, I play like this all the time, and I've been playing like this for years, so...
When you can play Alistair Blitzcrank bot lane and be told, yeah, that's pretty normal.
I
Sounds
think
about
that's
right.
normal! I've been playing that for years!
I literally saw somebody tweet out yesterday that they were in Champion Select and 4 different people in the game wanted to play Nunu, and I was like, well, where's the Blitzcrank?
Nunu and Blitzcrank, baby. Let's go.
It's
Let's
4
go.
Nunus and a Blitzcrank. That's the ultimate composition.
That is the ultimate
You just
combo.
all buff up the Blitzcrank's AP, and then he just flash ults in and one-shots everybody. It's the
I'm
dream.
pretty sure a really smart person said that
Yeah.
before. I wonder who it was, though. Iso, do you know who that smart person was?
I believe it was somebody named Magical Voice, but I think he got in a car accident or something.
I heard that it was like Highlander, and there could only be one.
There could only be one magical, so you had to behead the other one.
Also,
exactly.
there was a
name
wise
is
guy
George
predicting Darius bottom. Sadly, he said it's gonna be support. Shoutouts to Shigua.
Yeah, but he hates the meta.
Yeah.
It seems so funny. It's like, this is the perfect meta.
And he's like, oh my god, it's Jan,
No.
Janna 80 carry. No,
No.
don't give me that.
Okay,
No,
well, he
no, this meta is
died
shit. And then
completely.
Janna just completely dicked on. I loved it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, Reckless, you saw the whole thing, the graphic they pulled up. Reckless is solo queue champions.
Yeah.
Lulu, Karma, Janna. It was just like,
Mordekaiser.
this man's a beta bitch now. Jesus Christ.
I mean, he
What
always
has
kind.
What has Uzi done to this man?
He was always kind of a beta bitch, but in recent years, he just wasn't allowed to be a beta bitch, you know. So he had to be the
He
carry.
just pretty much got taken over by Uzi at MSI. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
a support mate. That's
So
it,
the
it,
moment-
was like
The moment
Who's the guy
Caps pulls
Faker
out the
clap?
Yasuo, it's just he reverts to being a beta again.
So
remember who was it that Faker clapped and forced him out of mid lane into the jungle? Who is it?
Ambition.
yeah.
Ambition, where
Yeah.
he just clapped him in the first season he was there, and
Yeah,
Ambition's
the
like,
first
"I'm done
game.
with this."
The first game.
You heard a lot about players saying they wanted to retire after Faker debuted because they
Yeah.
just thought, well, I can't compete with them in mid lane.
Yeah.
And it kind of forced a lot of the older players in Korea out. It forced this whole exodus where everybody had to have that moment where they go, well, the game's progressed far beyond me. Do I continue trying to play, or do I switch role, or do I just drop out altogether? It was really interesting.
All right, let's actually get this on track, though. I want to start with the probably more healthier thing, which is the very diverse bot lane meta right now. We have assassins in the form of Aurelia and stuff. We have juggernauts. We have everything. Everything's in selection right now, including AD carries. To be fair.
Diversity.
Diversity in 80 carries, the whole three that I really
Diversity.
see.
Honestly, we have been telling melee champions you can't be the primary carrier of our team for 8 years now, and I think it's really good that we finally can have Darius can actually carry a game now.
Yeah, that's true. I personally think it's interesting that you can have these juggernauts coming in, like Mordekaiser, where people were really wondering if he was going to get reworked. He's now feeling like he actually has a place where he can go bot or mid.
Rip Aatrox.
Well, okay, I mean, it sucks for Aatrox where he just finally fits in and then just nope.
He's really good at anti-tank. We've seen him against Cho'Gath. We've seen him against Mundo. We saw him in the ULCS yesterday, actually, a couple times, and he performed really well in all the games played. And he's not ridiculously overpowered or anything. He's a late-game scaling champion who has very good dueling potential in the late game, but still not as good as somebody like Fiora, so it works.
Yeah. So, in bot lane, we got a lot of stuff. Honestly, the way I see it right now is it kind of, like, no single champion has value on his own anymore. Like, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to pick Graves right now, and everything else is just going to fall into place now. No, you kind of have to already think, what am I going to pick with this Graves? Am I going to build a, like, am I going to send him bot lane, and, you know, have a kill lane there, or am I going to send him jungle? And if I send him jungle, do I have to... Like, am I picking an aggressive mid laner with him to go for invades, or do I pick a supportive mid laner and farm him up to Oblivion? It's really interesting, I think.
I love that some teams have just like Faker playing Taric mid and being made a bitch boy.
Yes, it's so sad.
Yeah,
like
then you get to see on the other side of it. It's like all these mid laners who have been making the jungler their bitch for so long, and now actually being made complete slaves. Like, follow me around and give me the CS.
Except for the new Karthus lane. Except for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funniest ones I've seen are, like, I think it's Snake did it yesterday. They put their support mid lane because he was being a bitch boy.
Yeah.
He was being. It was the soy boy Mordekaiser.
Mordekaiser.
Then you had the AD carry play support Shen, and the mid laner play AD carry Darius.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. But let's just forget that game had 4 banner of commands and an Ohm Wrecker.
Yes.
The fact that an Ohm Wrecker got built competitively, isn't that like the first time that's happened?
Well, it's been built when you're that far ahead a few times. For example, in the ULCS yesterday, Mundo in the G2 game built BF Sword.
Yeah. It was kind of nice. But, like, I think it's kind of good. Of course, you have like a lot of growing pains right now. I think like this was not an intended change, and so far I don't think everything has fallen into place yet. I do think though that Riot should stick with it and try to keep that alive.
I think the mid lane jungle thing should die.
Yeah,
just
that
burn in hell.
I was not talking about the bottom stuff.
The idea in bottom lane was actually fully intended. You can read articles and interviews from like back in March, and they said, with the mid-season update, we want teams with no marksman in bot lane, teams without a marksman in bot lane, or potentially no marksman at all to be viable.
So I'm going to argue a little bit with you on this one, Icer, about the whole mid-jungle synergy and why it's actually kind of something that is interesting to see for once. You mentioned before how the junglers have kind of been the bitch boy for a while, where they kind of were slapped around, told where to be, pretty much the walking wards, kind of just going around and being more of the macro kind of play style.
Who needs Scuttle if you turn mid lane into your Scuttle?
Well, I was about to say, you already have the Scuttle changes, where it's a lot more about having that vision control. So you literally can now have almost that duality, where you have both the mid and the bottom side of the map being that support with the AD carry or the bruiser juggernaut kind of style we're seeing, which is why Master Yi and Nocturne are kind of so strong. But this is also because of those changes bot lane. Without those changes bot lane, they wouldn't have happened in mid lane. So you have to pretty much accept both being there, or neither can exist.
I mean, it kind of makes no laning phase happen though. That's the problem right now. It's it takes away from any early laning when you can have a Braum and Graves consistently roaming around the map. You can't go for a play at any point because suddenly there's 4 men in your lane.
Yeah.
Well, it's true, and also at the same time, kind of not true, because you feel more empowered as that team with the Braum and Graves to go for those plays. That now we're so far ahead, we can see if we can rotate, which is why I mean, you just look over at the LPL
Well-
and how many skirmishes happen in the first.
Yeah,
10
but the thing
minutes
is, when
of
they're
the
playing
game.
these kind of compositions, and when they're playing like the 4-banner compositions, they don't go for loads of early skirmishes in the early game. They don't play that kind of style. What they do is just get a small advantage in the laning phase and consistently choke out their opponents by playing a slow, methodical style, where they just get multiple waves of priority, get towers before their opponents, and then continue to push it. They don't go for skirmish after skirmish, and they
Well, that's
It-
with
it's-
Banner of Command
what-
still in the game.
not even necessarily without Banner of Command in the game it might be different, but not even in like the 4-banner game necessarily. It was in these other games where we're just seeing like Mord, Graves, and then 3 other champions that are fairly generic. You'll see like maybe a Kai'Sa bot lane, and this composition will still be taking place. And this will still not be a comp that wants to do loads of aggressive skirmishes. It'll
at
be a
the s-
comp that
at-
wants to choke their opponents out.
At the same time, though, you have like the counter kind of emerging, where you have like Camille in the jungle picked very often, and then put an aggressive
or
laner,
Lulu.
Trundle.
a Lulu, or at least an aggressive laner in the mid lane, and then just go for these invades, take down the Master Yi early on, and just build a lead from there. And it's been working pretty well, honestly.
I still remember like 2 days before Trundle Jungle just became meta. I went, yeah, I'll play Troll. I'll just play Trundle Jungle, I guess.
I was
In a
with
game
you
with
in
you.
that game. I was
Yeah.
with you in that game, and you destroyed it, and we were like, wait, this is really good.
It was also the same game where Opal inted because I went behind his tower and took some CS. I taxed his wave. I taxed my own AD carry's
you
wave as
went
the jungler.
next level taxing, though. That wasn't just, oh, I ganked, I gotta tax the lane. It's, I ganked, I just want to take the whole wave.
Yeah, I taxed, took the whole wave, walked back and smited the cannon.
Yep. I remember that. Wasn't I playing Singe that game too? And that's
I don't know, I think you were actually playing support. So I
know,
think
I
you were
was
playing
playing
Blitzcrank.
Oh, was I? Was I? No,
But
'cause
for
I
the
was
rest of the
playing
game, I
Singe
had
when
Opal
was
in my ear
playing
going, well, if only I had one more level.
That was a fun time.
So
Yeah, it was.
let me ask you this question: what makes a good like? Let's just call it carry, like not AD carry. You know what makes a good like bot lane, like the thing that AD carries play, basically.
Well, I mean, looking at this meta right now,
Spikes on items.
it would be spikes on items, but at the same time, saying a bot lane carry. Well, we haven't been seeing that every single time, so it's almost unfair to say, because almost every champion, when you're a carry, you have spikes. Every carry has their spikes when they're the most powerful. But so in this meta, saying just the bot lane's so volatile, you can literally just see the double supports going bot lane, where they're not even caring about that. They're going to go for, we need to buff up mid and jungle, and that's the play we're going for. So
Well, the thing I'm looking at with this magical is like, when I'm saying item spikes, I'm looking at with the crit item changes, and crit ADCs were the most prevalent prior to these
for
changes.
a while, yeah.
Yeah. They had the 2 items I can fight now. 3 items I'm even stronger. And they needed 2 items to come online. 1 item was not really where they could do that much damage. So now we look at the 2 item spike, and crit ADCs, you can't fight with that. They don't have a go button until like 4 items in. And
Right.
like, even if you remember back in the time where you used to have Caitlyn going for Runan's Hurricane Rush after BF Sword, that was the go button because she could go mid and wave clear for free. You don't have the ability to just let the AD carry loose, and the AD carries that are succeeding, you've got Lucian, for example, who has a great 2-item spike with Blade of the Rune King plus Black Cleaver, which are both fairly cheap items.
I'd also
With-
argue that his laning phase is very strong, and that's kind of what makes him prevalent as well.
The thing is, there's a lot of strong laning AD carries. Like,
Yes,
you can,
but I'm saying it's
Cogmore,
one of the
Cogmore has
reasons-
very
one of the
strong laning. He's just weak in the mid to late game.
Right.
Well,
no, I'm
sorry,
just
weak
saying
in the
it's
mid
one
game
of the
before the
reasons
late
why
game.
we see him.
Honestly,
Yeah,
You're
just-
right. It's more the duality. You get both of them.
You need the balance.
honestly, I think you're looking at a champion that can like take over the game from 15 minutes and be like the primary carry in a team fight, and can like if unaddressed can win a team fight by himself, basically.
What you just described is Darius.
Well, and then also you've got to be careful with saying 15 minutes, because in a normal game, before we see 8.11, you talk about Master Yi, you talk about his power spike being 25-30 minutes. That's when he starts getting those 3 item spikes like Icer was saying. It's just one of those things where you kind of have to
I
be
mean,
careful 'cause you're funneling more gold onto these people and getting those spikes a lot earlier, and that's kind of why we're seeing some of these carries that normally wouldn't really work actually work. I don't think the crit would work as well because you're not going to be able to funnel the gold as easily onto them by going.
Honestly, I think a standard Master Yi jungle would work right now if he had especially Taric support. He's good enough at trading in the mid game, and once you hit level 6, you can gank so effectively that honestly, I think he would be great in cleanup. And a lot of these skirmishes are going so long that a cleanup jungler with high movement speed and resets could honestly do a lot of work. It's just the only issue is he's punishable in those early levels by some of the junglers in the current meta, and the mid jungle removes the early first 4 levels, especially if you're the jungler. So honestly, I hope somebody tries this with me on Evelynn, because that removes the entire weakness of Evelynn entirely.
But at the same time, you're not winning a game as just as Evelynn, you know.
Hey, you haven't seen my solo queue.
Hey.
Well, I've seen it before because I've been trolling you in it.
So
wait, you go smite mid just to try and steal my raptors every time I'm nearby.
I would never do that. Never.
So I want to kind of gauge on you, what do you think needs, first of all, do you think that something needs to change, and if so, what do you which aspects do you think need to change? I'm just gonna put it to Magical.
Honestly, I think the change that needed to come was Banner of Command kind of needed to get reworked, but they're just opting to remove it instead because they're not really sure what to do with it at the current time frame.
I think it's an item that will come back in a different form in the future.
I think so too. I think they're going to rework it. They just weren't sure what to do with it right now. So
just nuke it from orbit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean when you saw Snake running the 4 Banner of Command setup, and they didn't even need to fight. They just constantly had wave priority, and it stopped FunPlus, I believe it was FunPlus Phoenix,
yes, it was
from being able to engage at any point because they knew they'd lose a tower, they'd lose an objective across the map. They weren't in the right position to force a fight because the minions give vision, primarily is one of the things that they do. You don't need to have deep vision up the lanes when the minions are doing that for you. You can always see where the enemies are because they have to respond to these minion waves. It means that they're completely unable to get flanks, they can't force a fight because you just know when something's coming. It's much more telegraphed. So you just choke them out of the game, you get chip damage on towers over and over again until either they try and force a fight and lose because they're forcing it in disadvantageous situations, or the base just gets broken.
And to be honest, I honestly would have seen this Banner of Command style that Snake really innovated being what takes over the entire meta. People talk about Nunu Karthus, Taric Master Yi all they want. It's clearly not stronger than the 4 Banner of Commands. That's it was too much, and there's not enough wave clear. The 70% reduced damage from all sources was ridiculous. That change when it came down was just one of those things you're looking at, scratching your head
because they were trying to nerf Banner and then they buffed it. It was
Also, what I kind of saw coming with the meta, where we don't have an AD carry anymore. Oh, let's just pick a bunch of tanks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I mean, to be fair,
who's going to kill Mundo if not? Yeah, who's going to kill Mundo if not the AD carry with late game crit and the Last Whisper? And what we've discovered is it's Darius. Yeah. It's like Darius has been coming in, and if you heard the interview after the LCK, and Aatrox of course as well. But if you heard the interview after the LCK yesterday, Khan was saying that the 2 best champions in top lane right now are Darius and Mundo, and Darius is a little bit better than Mundo in his opinion. And we've seen how prevalent Mundo is becoming, first pick in a lot of senses, but some regions still not putting the priority on him. Sorry?
I said it's funny because Darius isn't really top anymore.
Well, we still see him more top than bot lane. We still see him more top than bot lane, but we do see him in the bot lane, which is just
I would say usually
we've never seen before.
I've only ever seen it drafted when it's into Mundo.
I've seen it drafted just into tanks in general.
Okay. Because I've been seeing it more drafted into Mundo specifically, and if it's not into Mundo, they're just we have Darius still, let's put him bot or mid.
He's pretty good into almost every tank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, he's pretty much good into any composition that can't keep him away. And we don't really see these control mages in the mid lane anymore that really keep the Darius out of the fight. You don't see a Syndra just pushing him away with a how's it called?
the scatter the weak.
Yeah, thank you. Um, Darius being the weak in this case. So, like you rarely see the
I'm looking
Azirs.
forward to the Cull the Meek. I want to see Renekton come back.
Oh, Renekton's a great counter to Aurelia, and we have actually been seeing that in mid specifically to counter Aurelia. Hell, I think it was Suning and who are they playing? They're playing LGD. There's the Renekton drafted, but they're too afraid of trying to go with some lane swaps to make sure the Renekton was into the Aurelia, and they just let it go into Swain, and then the Renekton was shut down. He was useless after that.
It's honestly, I want to see more from the champion. We've heard that he's popping up in some solo queue games, and as that counter pick to Aurelia. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah. So what I'd like to see, and this is going to be hard for the balance team. Like, first of all, the mid jungle thing. I don't think it's kind of it's allowed to stay, honestly, because
The
it's
problem
just
is though, if you don't let it stay, if you're trying to keep the bot lane the exact same where you can allow some of these more melee people to survive, you have to keep mid and jungle. Like I mentioned before, only one can not one, both have to survive. If they don't survive, both die.
well, but we see the same picks in bot lane without any even semblance of that in the game.
Yeah, I mean, if we're seeing Zoe Xin Zhao with like Ornn Trundle bot lane, then I did completely disagree, Magical. I think that the mid jungle can die, and this whole slave jungle or slave mid lane can die, and bot lane remain intact, and it not affect bot lane's meta because there's still all this base armor removed from AD carries. We're starting to see more and more though in the LPL and LCK. They go for AD carry versus AD carry, but there's going to be these compositions consistently popping up where a melee AD carry works.
Honestly, what I think will break this if they try to do it is just getting the crit AD carries back to where they were. And I think
the buffing Infinity Edge, they're lowering the price, like I suggested.
and that's completely fair. But like giving them that 2-item spike back, like a good 2-item spike back, I think that's just gonna delete every other champion from bot lane. Maybe Vladimir is gonna stick around because he's like that good of an assassin, but other one.
And I think Brand would actually survive as well. Because
I think the interesting one we're seeing as well, though, is like the changes. Sorry, I want to talk quickly about the buffs they're putting through for AD carry on the PvE. They're buffing loads of individual AD carries in terms of like they get 1 second CDR off of some of their abilities, and also we're seeing Storm Razor being buffed to the point where you get the 200% damage on the auto attack after 2 items rather than after 3. So they're trying to make that a more viable 2-item spike. So you go Storm Razor into like the rapid fire cannon or static shiv to get that massively empowered auto attack.
Or Runaan's,
Especially works with static shiv because you get the crit on that auto. You're guaranteed to get the crit, so the static shiv gets the guaranteed crit, which synergizes with the passive on that as well.
See, I'm just not sold necessarily. Like, with hearing you guys talk about the AD carry, what's to say it's going to stop that whole mid-jungle synergy kind of style not applying to these now crit AD carries?
Because they're now just saying that, like, right, we're going to make it so a jungle item is... the change that's been suggested is they're making a jungle item so you can't just get maximum gold from waves. You get significantly reduced gold from killing multiple minions.
If they do that, I think that'd be a good way to kind of stop it.
Yeah, because that's the mid-jungle thing being nerfed, and they've talked about what they want to do for
they
that a little bit.
They can still also have like we've seen the Nocturnes of the world go without the like extra farm and still do well.
Yeah.
Right. And I was about to say also, what's to not just say the Karthus Nunu survives because you'd have
Karthus is actually going for a jungle item.
No, I know he can, but he also can go without it. He can still.
We've not seen any Karthus go without the jungle item. It's Nunu with exhaust and Karthus with smite.
Yeah.
Let me double check.
Also, let me be real here. It's not a good strat. It's not a good strat.
It's not. No, it's not the best strat. Honestly,
it's so easy. It's so easy to counter if you see it coming, and you see it coming from a mile away because people have to pick Karthus and Nunu.
But the thing is, like Karthus is so immobile and doesn't really have any way of peeling for himself. Nunu is very much the same. Taric has stuns, heals, shields, and invulnerability, and Master Yi has a ton of damage.
Like the thing is, if you can pick the Taric, and just see what your opponent is doing. If they counter the Taric Master E strat, you just send the Taric into the bottom. You can still respond. If you
go Taric Lucian, and then you get the stuns with the dash.
if you really want to hide like Karthus Nunu, you have to pick it last. First of all, you already see okay, it's just mid and jungle left, so it could be the Karthus Nunu. Also, you get last pick after that. So
Sorry, I just got really thrown off. I was looking at it, and you're right. The Smite is taken on Karthus every single time, except for one where BDD didn't take it. They got crushed that game.
It's been crushed almost every game we've seen it. But one thing in reference to the jungles that we talked about, did you see the game where it was Peanut versus Cacao, Jinno versus Kingzone? Cacao played Camille jungle and Peanut played Nocturne jungle. Neither of them got hyper farmed. Both of them were incredibly relevant to the game because they were trying to dive onto the backline. Cacao less so because he didn't have the damage, he fell behind early. But Peanut was hard diving onto the backline every single time trying to execute a member and getting fed off of it. I think he ended the game 4-2 and 9. And the Camille was trying to do the same and trying to lock down multiple members to be assassinated in these key fights. But it shows what the jungler can still do and how much impact the jungle still has when you don't need to have that hyperform still.
No, that's true. I mean, honestly, I think the bigger thing when you take Camille jungle into the Nocturne is to pretty much try to shut down the hyperscale, but it's like you're saying, it's like you don't necessarily have to build that composition where you're funneling all this gold into one person. You can still easily win by going for a more standard, old-fashioned composition, and that probably is something people are going to realize. It is also it's that new patch, the chaos, that sometimes does happen when you have a huge amount of change where everyone wants to play the new stuff, and then they start realizing what are the stronger strategies, what are the stronger things into this, and then sometimes reverting back to what was old, tried and true.
And a lot of teams have been reverting, kind of, and also have really been noticing. No, you can't really it's not a cheese meta. Actually, I think this meta has been one of the best at promoting very solid play.
True.
Fundamentally solid decision making and good team fighting is really promoted with this, I think.
And they're doing to ADC what's happened to jungle every single season. They're going, learn a bunch of new champions. The entire playstyle has changed.
Except the Mumu, he doesn't have any friends with meta.
But the thing that's annoying me really after seeing this is the baby rage from some of the ADCs.
Oh,
like,
I know.
Oh my god, only 3 ADCs are viable right now. And then you look in solo queue, it's like, I had a challenger ADC that was arguing with me on Twitter, and he was saying, well, every ADC has a sub 50% win rate right now. They're all terrible. I take one glance at op.gg and go, okay, so literally 50% of ADCs have a plus 50% win rate.
Well, it's also, it's like what they did the interview with, who was it, Ian and, I'm trying to remember who the interview was. With,
I think my favorite thing was, immediately after all these changes, Thorin did a video of the state of top lane with Haunter and Alfari. It's just like, it made me feel like he's incredibly out of touch, or either that he's just memeing by...
Honestly, as far as I know, he records them. He records a lot of videos weeks earlier.
Yeah, it just made it really, really funny to see when it's just like, just after all these ADC changes come through, the state of top lane.
But no, the one that I remembered, it was Ian and Yondu. They did the interview where Yondu's like, I love this
MVP.
meta. This is the greatest. It was MVP. He's like, this is the greatest meta, and Ian's like, I didn't become a mid laner to be a fucking support.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Honestly,
I mean, it's inevitable at the end. We all return to supports. Every role has become a support at some point in time.
Yeah.
You just gotta be like me when it comes to being a support. Why give your AD carry or your mid laner all the kills when you can take them for yourself?
You just gotta play Pike in every single lane and go, I'm not a support. You're a support.
Honestly, I'm just gonna sum up what I want to see and what I don't want to see right now. What I want to see, the jungle item change we talked about. Just get that out of here. other than that, no changes to jungle and mid. Honestly, like maybe nerf and buff some
Wait,
champions
dude,
around a
the
bit.
one-
Maybe nerf Graves. I don't know.
Hey, better nerf Aurelia. I mean, we're back.
Yeah.
We're back in the old days.
Back
Better
in the
nerf
old
Aurelia.
days.
Bot lane.
Hey, they killed the old memes only to resurrect them again because
The
they
thing
want to
is-
make them fresh.
I don't think Aurelia's incredibly unhealthy. I think she's a good champion who, she's probably what's the problem is she's the most consistent diver in the game.
Yeah.
So
She's
she needs to
consistently
have
a threat to
something
be
taken
dealt with.
away.
I think it's the whole idea that it's to me it's always the Mundo effect, and the reason I call it the Mundo effect is because this goes back to season 2, when everyone would always start playing Mundo because he was really powerful at the beginning of every split because people forgot about him. Because what happened every season for the next 3-4 seasons was people like, oh, Mundo exists. Let's play the crap out of him. He has no counters, right? People start learning counters to them. They start countering him anytime he's picked. Then Mundo falls off because nobody wants to get
And then we
countered.
see Renekton and Darius come back again.
And it's just pretty much the rinse and repeat that happened every single year. It's pretty much one of those
Yeah.
things. You're just gonna have the rinse and repeat where it's like, oh,
This year's different though because Mundo actually got buffed considerably. His ultimate got like 150% healing at all ranks.
yeah, he's been gone for like it was like this was the third season in a row where we finally didn't see him keep cropping up at the beginning of the split. Where it's
I
just
think
like,
the last
he's
time
not
was
that
season
powerful.
6 where we saw him in the jungle quite a lot at the start of the season.
At the start of the season, I think he got a little bit of the no, it was season 5.
Because it was season 6 when he had his E changes that gave him a bunch more AD.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
He was seen in
It
the,
was
he was seen in
season
the jungle. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about the E changes that happened.
His
but
E is
it's-
really good right now, and it's why like in the late game suddenly you just go, okay, I just get 150 bonus AD and bop your AD carry in the face.
Yeah.
That's why I like to go full damage with them. It's just so funny. You just see this Mundo charging at you, and you bop them once in the head, and they die. But okay, going back to Aurelia just really quick. I think that's what's going to happen with is people are already starting to realize the counters to Aurelia, such as Renekton, where it's like, where is she weak? She's weak early game. Why don't we
I
just
think,
try
honestly,
to attack her?
Best nerf you can give her is the like maybe an E travel speed nerf. Because the E is the blades you put on the ground and stun people. If you put a travel speed nerf on that, make it more playable around because it's a very quick ability in terms of once both of them are on the ground, you're done.
Yeah.
If you make that either the stun travel slower or the
further
the actual
apart they
blades
are, I
themselves travel slower, it'd be interesting. But yeah, the further apart they are, and
They
actually
already
like
travel slower, but I think you make it a little bit slower when it's further apart.
either you make the stun like because I think the stun's instant when they both connect basically.
Yeah.
Because it's like
close,
both connect,
too.
split second, instant. Rather than like a wave that comes in and then stuns anybody in the center. If
So
you're
you want-
standing directly in the center of the two blades, it will be instant the moment the animation
It's,
starts.
I think a 0.25 second delay.
Yeah.
So you want it to be more like Malzahar.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I think that would
0.5.
actually be
So literally
perfect.
just add
Mal-
0.25 seconds.
yeah, the Malzahar Q would probably be perfect. Yeah, something along the lines of that. Where it's a little bit more telegraphed because in a team fight, that's why she primarily wants to land it, but it
Yeah.
provides her with so much laning pressure as well, and I
Well,
don't
I
think that's
think
really what they
it's-
want to be doing to her.
I think it's also the fact that it allows her to get the reset on her Q, with it being so quick that it's really hard to dodge, like you said. Then it gives a stun, then it gives a reset. That's a lot that it gives.
Yeah,
for it
that's the
connect.
biggest counterplay you can have though, just like not allowing her to land the E, and there's very little counterplay to it in a team fight because
Yeah.
it's so hard to see, especially when she just puts it on top of her ultimate.
Exactly.
Honestly, maybe give her less time to put down the second one, so that basically she has to put down both relatively soon to close to each other, so that you can have a bit more time to prepare, where to dodge and everything. You know.
The other thing that people do complain about, and I'm not sure how I feel about it necessarily, is the disarm mechanic. Being like, okay, your AD carry was hit by the edge of my ult, he doesn't do damage for the next 3 seconds. And it's effectively like landing a polymorph as Lulu. So it can be really devastating in that sense if she's able to get her ult onto the backline. But it's... I mean, I think you can QSS it still. I think you can QSS the disarm
can.
because it counts as a form of CC.
Yes.
So you're still able to deal damage through it, and it just means you have to buy QSS, which honestly, when you've got the stun from Aurelia and her diving onto you consistently, you might want to do anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my desire changes for bot lane, and I know I'm not really the biggest authority, but I'm just gonna say it. First of all,
It's Nautilus.
okay, he's already here. He's already here. I'm fine with him already being here. No, just like first of all, give crit carries like it's gonna be kind of finicky to get the right balance, but like have it so that they don't have a good 2-item spike, but they have a survivable 2-item spike.
Well, that was the idea behind Spear of Sojin, but then me and Icer over here, we kind of proved the fact of that item being.
And do you hear how long they've put that off for? November is when they plan to release Spear of Sojin and Atlas now after this.
Well, okay, we proved why those
we kind of
items were broken.
We kind of proved why those items were broken, and we went to Ender with our findings. Was that while Ender was still at Riot?
Yeah.
So there's a potential that he presented that information to them and went, okay, yeah, this is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Well, the fact you can go Jhin, take the item, and a Fiora who has full items cannot kill you is ridiculous. Where you let her get all 4 procs of the Vital on her ult, and you're still like, oh, I'm only at half health.
Yeah, it was really, really stupid.
Yeah.
I just want to take a quick glance down at the AD carry changes that they're actually suggesting.
Yeah, I kind of opened that up as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
So one thing that I
changes...
don't just quickly to finish off. One thing I don't want to see is relic shield nerfs really.
Yeah, initially that was my response. Just okay, they're gonna nerf relic shield to get melees out of the bot lane. But after seeing how healthy this meta actually is, I think you just leave it.
Yeah.
Also, they are okay. These are the changes. Buffing the cost of Infinity Edge by 100. Nerfing the duration of Essence Flare by 2 seconds, but buffing the attack speed to 50%. Essence Flare being the Essence Reaver effect.
Yeah.
Storm Razor now gets because you get the guaranteed crit every few seconds, yeah. And it does 160% damage if you just have the item outright. For every crit percentage you have, you get for every 1.5% crit you have, you get plus 1% damage. So you'd have plus 20% damage from 30% crit. And you need to have 60% crit to make the Storm Razor attack do 200%. Now you just need 30% to do 200% damage on that crit. So it's making that 2-item spike a bit more lovable, a bit more survivable. Because in the end, they want crit-based AD carries to be rushing Storm Razor as their first item.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of supposed to be the replacement for Infinity Edge.
Yeah, where you get a guaranteed crit, it seems perfect. But I mean, there's some champions where I love it, like Graves, because his
but he wasn't really the target audience.
Differently, I know, but his crits interact differently to everybody else's. So when you crit, your attack does, I believe, 148% damage, and each additional bolt does an additional 28% or something like that. So if you hit them with all 10, then add the 160% nerf onto it. You're still doing more than 200% damage.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like the changes to Master Yi, where they're taking away the bonus damage to minions, as their kind of answer to try to get rid of some of the mid lane. Nunu going down from 40 to 20%, and then honestly, I'm really curious to see how the Twitch change goes. I know it's aimed to be a bot lane change.
Yeah.
But honestly, we kind of were mentioning this before off air, where we were thinking maybe you could even go for that hyperscaling Twitch kind of jungle style.
I feel like that's just as punishable as Karthus, though, is the only thing.
Yeah, I do agree. I think I think what you do, if you're going to make this, like, meta work well, is, like you said, you kind of buff the crit items a little bit, make it so they're not quite as costly. You try to make it so that they can at least path a little bit earlier, but also you do have to try to hamper that mid if you do make it so that they get the less gold for lane minions if you have the jungle item. I think that's a fair kind of trade-off.
Also, I just want to add that, Louis, you missed out the potential title of this segment being Uwu, What's This? But
I would not have come on.
The biggest issue, the single biggest issue I have with the crit item changes is that you either have to have 60% or 120% crit. There's 60%, 90% or 120%. The 90% means you build no AD. And there's no way to get a perfect 100% crit. unless you build 2 Brawler's Gloves without actually finishing it. And
I see what
there
you're
needs
talking
to be a 20% crit item to round it out. There needs to be something that gives you a decent amount of AD. Doesn't have to be perfect, but remember old Triforce
Put
give
it-
you 25 AD and 20% crit.
Put it back on Atmos.
Oh no! But the whole idea being that there needs to be some 20% crit item to help round out and give you 100% crit every time. That it doesn't feel like you're wasting it by going for 120% crit.
I remember the item right. Let's bring back Cloak and Dagger. Do you guys even remember that item? Do you even
I honestly can't say I do, but I imagine it has some kind of invisibility effect from the sound.
No, it doesn't. So it gives you 20% attack speed, 20% crit, and 35 tenacity.
Way.
Yeah, and
Is that the item that remained in like Dominion for a while after?
Yep. It just kind of like stuck around for a bit.
Hey.
And you're like, wait, what?
Look, there's one item that you need to fix the meta entirely, and there's move Wooglet's Witch Cap onto
No,
fucking Summoner's Rift.
No.
Move Wooglet's Witch
No.
Cap. It's my
I
favorite
don't
item in
want
the
to-
game, and it's never been on
Zhonya's
Summoner's
and
Rift.
Fucking Deathcat merged.
Zhonya's and Deathcap is one item. It's perfect.
Fine, wait,
it's,
no, if we're
it's
gonna talk
absolutely perfect.
If we're gonna talk about items, let's talk about Moonflare Spellblade. Come
Oh,
on,
God.
come on. You want that tenacity?
But the
while
thing is,
also
do
being
you know
able
what? Do you know
to
what really
shield
tilts
yourself?
me? Go into collection, go into items, and then you search for the items. Spear of Sojin and Atmas are there.
Are they really?
Yeah, they are. It really bothers me.
Wait, what's this item? I forgot about this item. Now I'm just looking at old items at the moment because
Yeah.
I needed to check that I got the right crit item. So Cloak and Dagger could be your like replacement one of like well it gets that little bit of tenacity, a little bit more.
The Lightbringer. Crits cause enemies to bleed for an additional
Oh,
90%
yeah.
bonus AD as magic damage over 3.
Also, Curious Shot or something?
That's what builds into the
No,
Energizer
then it's wrong. There was an item that was basically like it gave you on hit damage. Like that was the only thing. Like it was you could build Last Whisper and that almost every time together. Not Last Whisper.
remember this.
Wit's End, and that together. I don't remember
So I
how
forgot
it
about-
was called.
So do you remember an item called Elisa's Miracle?
Honestly, I'm terrible with the old item
It's
names.
okay, it's perfect because I forgot this existed. So, this item was the cheapest legendary item you could buy at 1100. So, it was super cheap.
What is a legendary item?
It would
Just a
be-
completed item.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
completed item,
Okay.
that's all it is. So, what it would do is give you 10 bonus health regen, 15 bonus magic regen. Your heal, clarity, and clairvoyance cooldowns were reduced by 25%. And if you gain 3 levels while holding that item, it would consume the item. So it's gone out of your inventory, but you gain all the benefits from the item.
Where's my Lord Van Damme's Pillager, my dudes?
You're just bringing up old Dominion items.
Yeah,
All right,
I
dude.
love it.
Do we have any further points? Actually, let me ask you this: why is Fiddle back?
Because Fiddle is amazing.
3-second fear and his ult does a lot of damage in team
Okay, it's
fights when
2
unchecked, and he
I
gets a
thought it was
silence in lane to bully
2.75.
people.
I'm pretty sure
And he
it's
gets
Yeah,
a
but he had
silence
that
in lane, which
before.
really
Like he
affects-
had all
The
of
thing is,
he had all of that before.
He had it before, but he was more punishable by things like Caitlyn.
Yeah, because
How are you going to punish him as a Darius?
also
guess
Just
so.
get feared for
Well,
3 seconds.
also because Morgana's still in meta and he does pretty well into Morgana as well.
He does do very well into Morgana, yeah. But the other one I love is when you see Kai'Sa jump onto him or jump onto his AD carry, and he's just like, "Oh, you jump onto me with that shield, you feared."
The EU game where who was the
Yes.
Yes.
It was so painful. It was Splice versus somebody.
That's
Splice with Vitality.
Oh,
Yeah, and Cobby jumps in with the ult and gets
Yeah.
dicked on.
the
Jack Troll,
moment
the boy.
he goes in, just fear.
And he's on like 10 HP throughout the entire thing. It was so
He's
perfect.
like, I got the Q. I can get this. I got this. Easy. Just cancel.
Easy clap.
All right. So since we're already talking about EU, let's transition to that. Let's talk about EU.
Oh, the Mr. Worldwide tag. I'm loving it.
Mr. Worldwide.
It's
Yeah.
CL World for you guys. We're all here. The gang's all back together.
Actually,
We're here.
wait.
We're here.
Why do I have Magical's name up there? Let's get this out of here.
It's because
It's
I'm
the
so
magical
amazing
stream.
Oh wait,
that we have to have me twice.
let's just put it here. Fuck it.
Just hide it.
It
Just
out.
hide
It out. It out.
Get it out of here.
No, I'm outie.
I do find out.
So
And
So,
fuck this battle. I don't
games
want to
for-
win. I'm outie.
what we're gonna do is talk about some of the amazing games we've seen from around the world. Like I remember Orn Trundle bot lane being one that I laughed at. Seeing some of these champion selects, I just burst into tears because of how hilarious it
Casting
is.
for them has just been amazing fun.
Yeah, me and Louis do like practice casts, so we'll pull up an LPL or an LCK game that might not the LPL games that might not have commentary, or just the LCK games, and we'll cast them for the fun of it. And yeah, we casted that Snake game yesterday as practice.
That was a very good game.
Me and him were just screaming the entire time, and afterwards I just remember Louis goes, "So, do you want to cast game 2?" I look at him and go, "No."
You don't want to cast games with 4 banner of commands and Ohm Wrecker? You're really telling me this? I don't believe you. I don't believe
Alright,
you. What
let's-
is this nicer guy over here?
I felt exhausted after it. It was incredible.
Yeah. So let's start with NEU. We saw the first couple of games. We have some winners. Schalke, G2 Giants, Misfits, and Vitality. So Fnatic.
I think it really, after the first game of everybody's split, it's really split the league into a top 5 and a bottom 5.
Hmm.
Literally, because they've only played one
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
That's the
I
point.
Yeah.
don't you think I don't see through your lies of a Jedi?
Yeah.
I love what it says. One
So-
one 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 66666.
So it's like I predicted before the season that the team with the name first in the alphabet would be top, and I was right up until week 1.
Actually, who is that? It's I think it's Schalke. So
What?
wait, this-
No,
it's
that's
Schalke.
not first in the alphabet.
Yeah,
Schalke FC Schalke.
yeah. Actually, they are.
Actually, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's FC
This is
Schalke.
FC. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was thinking G2 comes before that, but
yeah,
wait,
yeah.
no.
No.
Okay,
No.
So, talking about EU, so yeah, Fnatic kind of losing it. A lot of people are kind of like, oh,
yeah,
this
just-
is this.
just-
So,
but,
yeah.
But let's talk about the real game, the Giants game with the goddamn pause and then the backdoor.
Yeah, that was the entire chat was yelling cheating. I remember Ender's quote afterwards where he's like, "Well, maybe he's running away from his team. Maybe he disconnected or something. Maybe there's an issue there." Not realizing that he's running towards the enemy base.
Anyway, yeah.
That's so funny.
So
it felt a bit cheap, honestly,
Yeah.
that they paused there, because like when you're seeing that situation, like okay, he's probably low and backed off. Nobody had that click for them where they're like, okay, he's rushing the base. So they think, what's our plan once this
Yeah.
starts? Right, they're all low, we can collapse on them at end, and they think through this executed team plan of what they're gonna do. They don't get to communicate with the teammates. They're all thinking individually what they do. And what they're all thinking is, how do we get this kill cleanly? Even if they chrono break it back a few seconds, how do we still get this kill cleanly?
That's
and
something that-
After they plan for all that, they go through their like 5-second plan or whatever, and by that time, Betsy's already in the base.
For me, that's something I'm not necessarily too happy and thrilled with.
I'm
is
not happy with.
that when a
No.
well, no, it's that when a pause happens, the players can't actually communicate about game strategies.
Yeah,
I understand that they're trying to make sure that there's the integrity for the other team. If they're the ones having the issue, they want to be able to solve those. But I feel like for like most sports, you have tactical timeouts and pauses where you can bring in an analyst who can talk. The coach comes in and kind of goes.
yeah,
through
but the thing is, the coach has been able to see the enemy
oh yeah,
board
I know,
placement and
which
things
is,
like
which
that
is
the
fair,
entire game.
which is fair for that. But I'm talking about with teammates.
With
having the
teammates, I
teammates be
completely
able to
agree with
talk.
you, but I don't think there should be technical
What?
pauses. I think in games like CS:GO that works perfectly because you can do it between rounds when it has no strategic impact on the current round. It's like, imagine you pause in the middle of a round and then you're discussing like, right, so they're around B site, we're around A site. That just sounds like it
Honestly,
could be too bad for the game.
like I was kind of thinking about how a way you could do it, and like the best thing, and it's not really a good system, but the best thing I kind of came up with was like, hey, you tell us you want to pause, and then we're telling you when you get the pause. Like
When action stopped, yeah.
yeah, like like the league is deciding. Okay, now is a pause window, so we're gonna
when the
yeah,
league says,
and we're gonna put the
opponents. I'm like, that's
no. That's not what I mean.
That would
Like
be fine,
like
though.
they call for a pause and then the ref behind them decides when.
Yeah,
Sort of thing.
Right.
yeah.
So they can't just pause.
It's like
or
it's like we want to pause, and then like when everybody's backing off, it's like yeah, okay,
But at
pause.
the same time, that could be tricky because imagine a team is trying to sneak a Baron. The other team says we want to pause. We can't allow you to pause right now. Oh shit, something's going down.
Oh boy.
But the thing is, if they say we want to pause, it's not the ref's job to respond at all. The ref can just
Yeah,
not
but at the same
respond
time,
until the point, yeah.
not letting you pause is a response.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the case. But the thing is, if none of your team is doing anything and they're trying to sneak a Baron, I still think you can pause there.
Or I think
Actually, that
there's
might
a
be.
time frame where you can pause. Like after say 25 minutes, you shouldn't be allowed to pause. That's
I think that after 25 minutes is the only optimal time to be able to pause.
Yeah, it's like why would
I
you
know-
pause
I
before?
know, well, you'd pause before.
Yeah,
to kinda
you're not
try
going to pause in the laning phase and go, gank me, you fucking shit jumper.
like the
Hey, you don't know that with some of these players. You do not
like
know
like
that
the
with
only
some
thing
of
I
these
could say
players.
like okay
Hey,
we're
it's
gonna
Gilius playing, I know that's what they're talking about.
coordinate like a bot lane dive or something, but like really the late game is where you have where the pause would be the most effective.
It would be the most
Yeah.
effective, but at the same time, it would have those like the stigmas where someone could try to pause when like
I don't even think, like, if it's 40 minutes into the game and you go, we want to pause, that's probably, like, the best timing for it, because nothing is going to be happening most of the time in the game.
Right. So maybe
I-
then you'd have to allow, even if they're trying to sneak a Baron for the pause to happen. Maybe
Yeah,
that'd have to
because
be a
they
countdown
can't-
of
they won't
5,
be able to
4,
tell the
3,
Baron's
2,
happening.
1
At
kind
the
of
same
thing.
time-
They won't be able to tell the Baron's happening if, like,
Like
even
I-
if you give them the pause, it's not going to be like Baron's suddenly not taken. They're still going to continue sneaking Baron.
Like the worst thing about it, I think, is like League of Legends is a very like objective game because it's a programmed game, so you don't have referee decisions that much unless something goes wrong. So
Right.
I
putting
couldn't decide whether it was a kill or not.
yeah, but like exactly, but like the problem with this is like you're adding like a human component into something that is working right now, and you're adding human decisions. So at that point, you can say, "Oh, why didn't you give us the pause?" And you're biased ref, as the Scots used to know.
Oh god, yeah, I'm a Scottish football fan. I know all about biased refs. This is
It's like
it's not fond of that.
at that point, you're already opening up refs to like a lot of scrutiny and a lot of shit. So I'm not sure. I'm
Was
not
all
sure.
about that. He was like the first person to decide a chrono break, was he not?
Yeah.
Who?
Ender.
Yeah, he was.
Like it's
So like it's even the chrono break's a decision that needs
Yeah.
to be made. That's
Yeah, I
very
remember
much in the
actually-
human
Yeah.
standing.
Well,
And-
there's a couple factors that go behind
It's-
it. I
it's
remember
always
talking
like-
with them about it afterwards. It was
and
interesting.
unless something goes wrong with the game, I don't think I don't think there should be a human component because it just opens up a can of worms you don't wanna.
I think it is necessary to have a human component because no program is infallible, and if League of Legends is going to crap out, say like imagine the situation is somebody uses their W on Tristana and they don't go the full distance they would have wanted to, and like you can literally see on the replay that they had the distance from here to here and they jumped from here to here,
Mhm.
and say that's a bug that occurs. They call for a pause and say, look, this is the issue, this has happened, and what the ref then has to decide is, would she just have died anyway?
Yep.
If she would have died anyway, then
And-
then we just continue. If she
Plus-
wouldn't have died, then we have to chrono break that.
Well, plus it also makes it have that element of being a sport, where sure you might say, "Oh, you're opening up a can of worms," but that's sports. Sports are
Yeah, but
meant
you-
to have those fallibilities from all sides.
Wait,
even if
people
there's
are
wait,
meant to yell about
wait,
sports.
it's meant to be. It doesn't have it right now. It doesn't have it right now. It only has it,
I mean,
as I said,
no,
when
no,
it's...
remember the Giants remake last season. The
Yeah,
Giants
like,
remake
it
last season was
happens.
one that really pissed people
As
off.
I
because they
said,
go for a
when it
remake
fucks
in a
up.
really stupid situation where
Like,
they were
but-
given
but-
the option whether they wanted to remake or not, when they were massively behind because for 3 seconds they couldn't see an Oriana ball.
The thing,
and it
though,
was
is
their
like...
own Oriana ball.
I think you should keep it to the point where something went wrong and you have to have a human decision. I don't think putting in new human decisions is a really good thing.
Hey, League's all about decision making, Louis.
That's my point. I think we kind of ran the topic to the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Also, my favorite team, Grex, is going to be playing soon, so I'm happy the LMS is looking interesting.
Let's go, LMS.
I forgot about the challenger scene in the LMS. I only ever thought that there's the Flash Wolves in the one league.
Oh, it's just Flash Wolves and no other teams. HQ
Yeah.
got relegated last
Yeah,
split.
they got relegated. Unfortunately, it was really tragic to happen.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah. Whatever happened to Raze Gaming?
But when we have like 4 teams that I'm really interested in right now, like we have Flash Wolves, of course, coming back with pretty good performance at MSI behind them. We got Jurex still kind of in their neck. We got Machi kind of coming in with
It's
at
Grex
least some.
3 deep cover Greco, thank you.
He out. We got Machi coming in with some new players. I think they have some upset chances. And then we have HK Attitude, which honestly, like, this could either be amazing or it's just HK Attitude is cursed and we're never gonna see a good HK Attitude.
They're
Like,
cursed. They're cursed.
It's pretty rough because like they even made Worlds last year.
Yeah, and I called how they're gonna play too. Everyone's like, nah, they're gonna do really. No, they're not. They're going to lose, and you'll see why. And they did exactly what I said.
I mean, we both kind of agreed that Hong Kong Attitude weren't going to do that well.
Well, you were the one of the few people that agreed with me. You're the
Yeah.
only guy who had my back on that, being like, yeah, Hong Kong's probably they're gonna choke.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
one thing that's like really interesting though, we got Team Afro coming. Let's call it back. They basically lost to their sister team, Team Afro Black, I think, in the promotion relegation, and then they just
Afro
took all the
Beast.
Afro Beast, took all the players, took the name, put it into Afro Beast, and called it Team Afro
Team
again,
King all over again.
and called it Team Afro again.
It's Team King all over again. Yeah, it's.
That was
There's some other interesting changes though, like Iksu coming out of retirement to play for Hong Kong Attitude in the top lane, which I'm excited for. Crash playing in the LMS, replacing Move
That
and
one's
Crash
really cool.
literally doing the old switcheroo.
yeah.
Almost like a
Got
trade.
Stitch coming in.
Yeah,
Stitch, I'm not too.
Stitch was their last split. I mean,
Oh, okay, never mind.
without Lilo in the bot lane, I don't know how he's doing. but-
Okay. Yeah.
What about Pleakley and
Trying to live up to the
Jumbo,
standard of Pooh and Mandu, and
Oh god, Pumandu and Piglet, yeah, Pooh and Piglet.
wait,
in lane.
I said Pooh and Mandu, right? Oh, I'm stupid.
Yeah,
man? We got where you're
Yeah.
going, though.
Yeah, I'm
we're
sorry.
good. Though I will say,
I mean, I'm still impressed that somebody decided last split in the Challenger series or the Academy scene in NA to have Moon, Sun, and Eclipse all on the same team.
but what about the CLG Academy bot lane autofill? Come on, man. Come on.
Oh god.
but
But the thing is, in this current meta, if they're playing like Fnatic, it's autofill support.
Yeah, it feels bad.
All right.
I want to talk about HQ a little bit. I know Louis kind of like already thinking that, but I want to talk about Westor is no longer inactive. He is actually going to be playing this split where he wasn't last time around.
Well, he was playing at the start of last split. He took a break
started.
halfway through.
Yeah, he took a break halfway through, but I find that interesting. Like he's taking
Give me the
break
fizz.
now.
Give me the fizz. Give me the fizz.
Because he kind of hovers between being on his honeymoon and then playing League.
Yeah.
Because he got married at the start of last season.
Yep.
So he went away for a bit, came back, and he's kind of been on and off since then. But it's unfortunate because like I don't want to be rude about this because I'm happy these players are moving forward in their lives and their futures. But every player who's got married has gone downhill. Look what happened to Ambition. He got married immediately after Worlds and immediately plays like dog shit in the LCK. Westor, he's been playing significantly worse. Alex Each drops off a cliff when he gets married. Diamond Prox drops off a cliff when he gets married. We can talk about specifically Diamond Prox and Alex Each as it being the test of time and the players get older, the meta's changed, etc. But it's just another
that's not fair
example.
to Diamond Prox though, because that guy, even in the LCL, has been literally like everyone says this guy is still a world-class jungler. That's not.
I mean,
fair
he's
to
he's.
him.
I mean, he hasn't.
If you're talking LCL, yeah, he's a world-class jungler.
No, even
but
like people
that's
outside
to
of the
them.
region
Well,
looking outside of it,
dude,
looking
I mean-
in.
I mean,
Like the LCL is the equivalent of the UK scene. It's honestly nothing special.
also the one.
Like literally, you see people from the UK scene get imported into the LCL.
I mean, he has had a resurgence. Honestly, like he was pretty bad. Remember when we casted the LCL when he was on
Yeah,
Gambit?
he
and then Gambit was
having a
super
bad
shit.
time. Yeah, he
I
was
li-
having a bad time. But then after we stopped casting for it, that's when he started picking
Yeah,
his stick back up
No,
again.
To be fair,
dude, it's because they built a decent team around him that had some of the best players in the
Yeah, you got
LCL.
Kira, you got
PvP
Edward.
Stahos.
Well, but PvP went top lane instead of going
Yeah.
jungle.
Yeah, but he was actually decent at it.
Yeah, he actually was. I was surprised. His Poppy was pretty damn good.
But the thing is, they consistently build some of the best players in Russia around him. And yeah, he looks less trash now when he has 3 winning lanes. Good for him. I mean, I'm not going to tell you he's a bad player. He's still a decent player, but by LCL standards, he's a middle of the pack LCS jungler.
Yeah, I would love to see him back in like a LCS kind of.
We saw him
format.
on Unicorns of Love. He was decent. He wasn't anything particularly special.
The problem was he got kicked back out as well because of visa.
Because he's Russian and
Yeah.
Germany sucks.
Yeah.
All right, so we kind of skipped over it a bit. I just want to know like your predictions. EU, who wins EU?
EU.
I mean, if Reckless gets the surgery to remove his bitch tits he's got from being such a soy boy, maybe Fnatic has a chance again.
I'm gonna go with Schalke. I think Schalke are gonna take it.
Honestly, with games being a lot shorter now and a lot more around like individual play, I see G2 Esports winning it.
G2.
Yeah,
Bring it
they
back.
they already had a pretty good early game. They had how's it
Sure.
called? Yanko's carrying some of these early games, getting early advantages for his team, and at the two item mark, I think G2 is honestly the best team in the league. So if we see this meta kind of continuing this way, where we have the like two item spike kind of be this important, G2 wins it for me.
So, without quoting Fight Club this time, I honestly think that Fnatic has the chance to work it all out once they start to understand the meta more. We saw at MSI the potential of Caps to carry, and when Reckless is able to take a step back and be a carry for the team, but not the carry, it was actually very interesting for the team. But Reckless without these crit-based AD carries like Tristana to wait for the late game on is significantly weaker. So
Yeah.
we need to see how the meta shakes out for them, but I can definitely understand where you're coming from with G2. G2 looked like in my opinion, the strongest, but they were against Rockats. It's hard to tell at this very point in time. I think Schalke's not really proven to me that they have the ability to change to the meta, and proven the ability to really, I don't know. I mean,
Well,
did you? Yeah, you watched Schalke last split. They didn't really adapt well as the season went on. They had 4 or 5
Right.
games where they looked really strong, and after that they just fell off the face of the earth.
I think that's going to be their biggest weakness, but if we assume the meta stays in a relative form similar to now, not obviously the same because that's never how the meta works. Nukeduck has had great performances on Zoe, and honestly, I think that's kind of why I kind of look at Schalke and be like, okay, they have Vizicachi, who's going to probably play very aggressive on the top side of the map, draw a lot of pressure. Amazing is back. and I want to see Amazing do well. I think that he still has the potential. He needs to prove himself this split, especially. Then you have Nuke Duck in the mid lane, where he has a little bit more versatility. He likes to play Zoe, but really for me, it's the bot lane, of Vander and Upset, where I really do think that Vander just has that. He's the guy who has the flexibility. Nobody else but Vander has that flexibility to really kind of bust out some of these crazier picks for Schalke that can really try to lead them to success, and the rest of EU are just going to start floundering around what to do.
All right. So going over to the element. Okay, sorry. Got another point?
I love the current meta, but I know Fnatic has one of the strongest setups both inside and outside of the infrastructure of the
Honestly,
system, and I'm looking at it like I want them to be able to adapt to this, but I want to see a world in which Reckless can carry without having to rely on
honestly,
like Tristana.
Right.
like if Fnatic is anywhere close to like what they were in spring, once we see a couple of changes to the crit itemization, they've always been one of the best teams to stabilize the game at 40 minutes and win. So
Yeah,
honestly, if we see
it
the
all
crit,
comes down to Reckless though for me.
Huh?
It's just the fact that it all comes down to Reckless is an issue. It's like
Yeah.
Caps can try and carry, but he always needs Reckless to back him up. He's not that 1v9 yet.
honestly, I think they can play double AD carry and be fine.
I'm not sure.
It's
We'll have to
it's
see.
a troubling time right now because when you talk about most regions, it's kind of like a who can adapt this well into this weird meta, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I made jokes about it, but honestly, the fact that Reckless's solo queue picks are Karma, Lulu, and Janna is a big issue.
It's telling.
It's telling that he's not confident, and you got to think like after how hard he got destroyed at Worlds, after destroying every AD carry in EU, MSI, how hard he got destroyed at MSI, after he destroyed every AD carry in EU, nearly got 2 pentakills in the final. We got an unofficial penta and a penta back-to-back games. Then to go from EU to playing in MSI and getting dicked on so hard, it kind of makes me worry for him.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I think Fnatic is the most interesting roster right now in the most interesting to see develop in EU, and they have. I said it after MSI, they have massive potential, but I don't. It's really hard to all get that under one hat, and I don't think the current leadership within the team can do it. Like they honestly need a dictator in the team somehow. I don't think Brox is going to be that guy. I don't think Reckless is going to be that guy. I don't think Hillersong is going to be that guy.
Well, we can talk about. Let's talk about quickly like the things that are actually meta that can be played by Reckless, and I want to go back to that just quickly because like there's still things like Lucian that seems like a champion he could work with. The ice skating Lucian. There's still Kennen ADC that's starting to come back. If they want a 1v9 with him, they've got Draven who's coming back as well.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of AD carries that are relevant,
And with a bit of more crit itemization, give him Sivir again. Give him,
Yeah, Siv's really hurt by the fact that Essence Reaver's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think she can she can get to a good position again.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for the LMS, I don't really want to ask the question who's going to win. I'm going to ask the question, do you see any reason why Flash Wolves don't win?
So, I'm really excited to see what team is going to get promoted in the LMS to the actual league. Right now, having one team in a league is pretty boring with Flash Wolves. But I do think that Grex over here is going to be able to start coming up.
Are you talking about Grex 64 enter the Greco?
Yes, I am.
Honestly, Flash Wolves is like the only team that hasn't, been promoted to the LPL yet.
Hey, Casa started it. Casa started it. And now Mountain's got as well.
But real talk for the LMS. I actually was harping on them harshly before MSI because of how much changed in the LMS. But the fact that Flash Wolves were able to show up after having a shaky start to the spring split, come out and actually be able to win in the playoffs, go 3-0, and then come into MSI and actually get to semifinals and look very powerful.
And I mean, Maple had to adapt a lot to the meta. He was really struggling after Worlds last year. Also, with the new jungler Mujin, who obviously isn't Taiwanese, he doesn't speak the language perfectly, having just moved from Red Bulls into the LMS.
Yep. But he's doing really well.
They had to adapt to it. Yeah, and he's worked really well. He's been an excellent replacement to Karsa in terms of he does what Karsa did, just more aggressively and with less understanding of vision pressure.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get a move on to NA. I'm gonna lean back here because I honestly there's two regions in the world that I really could not. Actually, three regions that I really could not give a shit about. It's NA, Turkey, and Oceania. So you take the floor. I'm literally gonna do this.
So we're talking about America. As he mutes his microphone, Latin America, North South. So that's what we're talking about here, right? The fact that Rainbow Seven's gonna win.
One of those regions is literally in South America. This is NA.
hey! We just said America, right? What? We just said America, right?
NA,
we said
North
America. What?
Yeah, the LLN is in North America.
No, that's Central America.
It's technically North America.
No.
I'm sorry.
Half the players are from Honduras, clearly.
But that's still part of North America.
Central America.
Well, yes, you say Central America, but it's part of the continent of North America. Did you know that those players can actually play in the NA region and NA LCS and not be considered imports?
It's like Turkish players can play in EU without being imports. Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
People just don't realize that because it never happened.
If we're talking in terms of the actual NA LCS, TSM's still going to be terrible because they're trying to run a backup jungler to Mike Young now, which I can respect. But I do like Greg. I think Greg's actually honestly going to provide more than Mike Young is the split.
Oh yeah.
And once Mike Young starts floundering again, they're going to be able to bring him in and maybe give Mike Young a couple weeks break, or even just have him sub out some individual games.
I thought they
made the statement that they're bringing him in as a sixth man.
Yeah, okay.
He's on the starting roster in terms of he's the sub on the starting roster, but he's still the sixth man. And that implies that because they were so willing to announce him, that he is actually the sixth man in terms of they will utilize the sub, which I do respect a lot. The other thing is, I don't want to belittle Mithy's career. Mithy's had a great career. He went to Worlds with Origin, went to semifinals. He's been to Worlds with Lemon Dogs, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
He's a legend in terms of his career history. But, Jesus Christ, is he bad at caster and enchanter supports. He's the moment you give him the ability to die when he face checks a brush, he will die when he face checks a brush.
Yeah,
that's why you need him playing the Braum and the Alistar and give him the ability to survive those. Honestly, look at his win rate on enchanter supports versus his win rate on things like Braum, Alistar, and those sort of metas. It's damning how different it is, and it's the fact that we need to see him be a melee tank support. To have any kind of win rate is really rough for TSM, and think of what Bifrost could do. Bifrost was able to provide a really wide variety of a wide variety of picks and styles. He could play the enchanter supports, he could play the playmaking supports like the Bard, which he played really well. He could play the Alistar. Now you switch to Mithy, and Mithy's like, yes, I can shot call for the team and take the pressure off of Bjergsen, and that's the strength of him. And he's worked with Sven in the past. But he doesn't have the champion pool.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go the opposite. You said who's gonna be a not so good team. So I'm gonna tell you why FlyQuest is gonna be the best team, and it's all because of Keen. It's all because of one guy.
They gave up Fly, and Fly became good.
Yeah, they gave up Fly, and instantly Fly looks like one of the best mid laners in the LCK.
That was actually really funny. I find that hilarious. But no, it's all because of Keen. And because Keen's a monster, and that guy can literally just be like, what's a meta?
He's a monster.
Hecarim's good in this chaotic meta, right?
Hecarim's good mid lane. Urgot's a mid laner.
I'm so excited to see how Keen is gonna play because I want to see the random shit.
Honestly,
he's gonna be like,
like,
I
do
can
you remember
play
in the
this."
Challenger series when he was playing on Apex, I believe it was at the time, and he was pulling out Graves mid lane just after the Graves rework. He's pulled out some really interesting picks
He's
in the past.
amazing,
But
I love
when he
him.
plays in LCS last split, because obviously he started most of the season before Fly, I don't think the coaches really had that kind of faith in him to give him the ability to pick whatever he
Better have
wanted.
it now.
I hope they do now, especially since FlyQuest they are moving forward with this pick. They picked up Centaurin as well though, and I think I although I love Centaurin in terms of like watch the guy play solo queue, the guy's great, but he's never really been able to translate that to a competitive stage. You can watch even like his first tournaments with TSM. He tried to play those aggressive champions. He pulled out like Pantheon jungle and went, I'm just gonna dick on them in the early game, and he was never able to really translate it.
So, yeah, that is true. But now you have a meta where Wild Turtle doesn't have to worry about flashing in because that's recommended. Because
He's playing Darius.
he's playing Darius, so he wants to flash in. So it's actually recommended that he does this. So you don't have to worry about your AD carry getting caught out anymore because what the fuck is an AD carry anymore?
And AD carry builds more health than AD nowadays. That's
then-
the thing.
And then you got Flame. So you got Flame in the top lane. I
Flock
mean,
of Flame?
no, bad.
Oh,
No, but then you got Flame, so he's gonna just go ham. He's gonna go hard, and Conquan, he's kind of there. So yeah, they're gonna be the best team in it.
if we're talking about who's going to win, I have a lot of faith in 100 Thieves, especially after how Team Liquid looked at MSI
Yeah,
and how Ole looked really suspect. 100 Thieves are very close to hitting that synergy point where I think they look like one of the best teams that NA's had in a while. And you look at the roster, you can understand why. You've got Ryu, Someday, Meteos. It's just an Aframu, and then Cody Sun hasn't really shown that he's an elite AD carry, but he's shown that he's a good AD carry in spite of his issue at Worlds last year, the memorable alting a player into his own team,
oh yeah, that was tragic.
killing them all.
That was a feels bad. But
Ugh.
Tristan's not meta, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, Tristana's gone, but I mean, like, now he's going to be just alting someone into his own team as Poppy instead.
Hi, I'm Poppy. But yeah, no, I kind of want to see 100 Thieves do really well, but I feel like they're all older players. They're used to the older meta, so it's like
Hey, this
You
is
look
Meteos we're talking about. Meteos is adaptable.
Meteos is adaptable. I think Aframu is probably a little bit adaptable, but I'm not.
I mean,
sure
he
about
used to be an
Ryu.
AD carry. He's pretty adaptable.
True. This is true. I'm not sure about Ryu though. I don't know how he's gonna do. Someday he's pretty strong in the top lane, so they can probably rely on him going on.
Okay, so I wanna, when you refer to Ryu, I want to talk about the difference between Ryus. Ryu in Season 3 is famed for the Z versus Z and things
Yes.
like that, but when Ryu started in the LCS, when he initially started on Millennium, then went to H2K,
Yeah.
he was playing things like Diana, he was playing Assassins, he was playing hardcore, I'm gonna blow you up Assassin. And that's what he was known for at the time. And it kind of slowly developed into him playing more and more control mages because that was what the meta is. He's pretty adaptable, he just plays what's strongest.
Yeah, that is true. And I'm kind of just looking at his like career, who he's played the most, and it's like Oriana, sure, but then LeBlanc. That's something.
I
that
mean,
you can
Fake
probably
has played Oriana more than anybody in LeBlanc second, so I think it's fair.
Yeah, I actually find it funny. His Aria apparently is beastly. He's got a
Oh, it
29
is.
and 5 record on it.
Yeah, his Ari is incredible. Like, I remember he was, I believe in like a game 3 or something against Copenhagen Wolves in LCS, and it was like he's borderline about to get kicked out in terms of playoffs, and he sits in the red buff brush for literally 4 minutes straight, waiting for somebody to walk in because his team's so far behind, and just assassinates them as Diana. He just sat there waiting in brushes for people to walk by for minutes at a time and assassinated them. Those picks got them back in the game.
Yeah, it is possible. I'd like to say that he can get back to that form, but it has been one of those things of we look at the past and what he has done, and then look at the present and how he has become, and you kind of go, can he get back to that level?
It's fair, but in terms of a prediction, I want to predict 100 Thieves are going to win and TL is going to start falling apart. TL always falls apart after about a split.
I think TL is going to fall apart. I think that you're accurate on that one. I would like to say, hey, they had a rough time at MSI. They're going to be able to bounce it back, but we kind of know the volatility of a lot of those players.
Hey, maybe now they got rid of Jarge, they can do well.
Yeah, actually.
It's like a... it's a meme. The guy's not a negative impact, but it's... The team has... the team has had issues in the past with toxic members of staff, players being toxic to staff, and back and forth between them. You can look at the Loco Doco versus Dardoch thing, and I don't want to hop on it too much, but that's kind of what Jarge has been known for behind the scenes from people I've been speaking to.
Yeah.
As being this very toxic personality who players aren't fond of, and he's not fond of the players either, and there's kind of a lot of disrespect between the two.
That could be a possibility. Honestly, maybe getting rid of someone who's...
He's a remote analyst, so it can't be that much of an impact, but getting rid of him is indicative.
You never know how just one person, even if they're minor, can impact what you think. So, honestly, it could change a lot, and I'd like to see them do well, but if I'm going to put my bet in for NA, who I think is going to do well, I'm going to have to go with... Honestly, I'm going to stick with FlyQuest, like as a real guess. I'm going to put that in as something I think that they're going to be an underestimated team. I think they're going to be able to show people kind of more when Keen first came onto the scene with Gravity and people underestimated Gravity, and then suddenly...
and then they choked.
But then they choked later, yeah.
The problem I have with FlyQuest is like the members you put out as like the good members, like Flame and Wild Turtle.
No,
they were already on the roster.
No, Keen's the one that I'm actually...
I mean, also, but like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Oh, they brought in Santorin as a jungle, but they got rid of the jungle sub, so Santorin is the only jungler. Santorin is the same jungler who got subbed out by H2K for Kadril.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and then Kadril got subbed out for Shook because Kadril was also bad in the jungle.
Yeah.
But that was clearly an issue with him on that team, and I don't think it was an internal issue. I think it was a playstyle issue. And I don't think he suits the current meta because he's not really able to play the aggressive style on stage like I talked about. I think it's maybe just nerves. There's some of these players, like, do you remember when Incarnation first stepped onto the scene?
Yeah.
And he was renowned for playing Assassins only. First game he plays AP Kog'Maw and gets dicked on by Bjergsen, and then doesn't play Assassins for the first half of the season. Pulls out his Zed, and everybody's like, this is what he's known for in solo queue. His Zed has an amazing win rate, and he doesn't even ult the entire game.
Yeah.
Not even a joke. He literally didn't ult anybody in the entire game, was unable to make the plays, unwilling to make the plays.
But he won
There's these kind of players
Teemo.
who they haven't been able to translate this kind of assassin aggressive playstyle to the stage. Jensen was able to adapt and become a more control mage, be very adept at that. Santorin's not found a style that he's adept at, and he wasn't able to push away from the aggressive solo queue junglers in solo queue. So when you look at competitive play, and he's not found any identity there either, it's a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of teams we haven't really talked about. So let's go through them. Let's just say in order. So we're gonna keep Cloud9 for last because we got a bit of a surprise, but let's
I mean, it's not so much a surprise as one of us has a non-disclosure agreement that we can't talk about C9. Not gonna point any fingers, but it's
I don't know who that is.
that way.
Wait.
It's the heart all over again, Louis. I'm in reverse.
Wait, you're pointing at me. Ah.
It's beyond Louis.
Not me. It's definitely not me. I don't know what you're talking about.
No. It's
No, he's Twitch, as you see on his shirt.
yeah. Sponsored by Arena.
All right, let's go. Clutch. Any reason to suspect they're gonna, do as well as they did this season?
I have a lot of faith in Clutch, and I think their bot lane's actually stepped up and become one of the better bot lanes in NALCS.
That is true.
And
I think they're going to be a dark horse in the entirety of it.
So Lyra had a really bad start to last split. I think he could have a much better one this split. when there's more freedom to play aggressive junglers, and he's shown how adept he can be at aggressive junglers, even trying to pull out Lee Sin last split, I think he's in an optimal situation where he is allowed to shine. So I want to see Lyra step up, and I think that roster can do well. Solo actually surprised me last split as well. I was actually really impressed with him. Same as Licorice. Both of them actually surprised me quite a lot.
Yeah.
But then Solo dipped on Licorice.
Yeah. For me, for Clutch Gaming, it's really going to be, like Icer kind of said, it's going to be, does Lyra step up? Does he perform like he did on Envy? Or is he going to perform like he did on Clutch at the beginning of the season? Spring. So, if he steps up, Apollo and Hako are already doing, like, just fucking
mad
amazing.
work. Yeah.
Like, they're doing fucking amazing. There's no other way to put it. So if Lyra steps up with them, the rest of the team's just going to follow suit, and they're going to be, like, they are the dark horse of NA.
Mm-hmm. Then, CLG, any... I mean, no. Just no.
Yeah. Just
Next.
why bother? Yeah, GG go next.
GG go next.
Echo Fox, I honestly, think has hit the best meta they could have hit. Like Huni playing Darius, give me that.
That'd be pretty nice. I will say, looking over to Echo Fox, it's going to be interesting to see how, especially Adrian and Altic, kind of adapt to a lot of this. Because for me, Adrian has always been the guy who really goes on to more of the enchanter kind of supports, tries to buff up people that way, doesn't really try to do too much outside of that. Well, sure, he's been able to play the tanks, he much prefers the enchanter meta, and this isn't really about that. It's about being able to have any sort of adaptable play style, and I think he's going to be the weak link for Echo Fox.
I think Altec was also very disappointing last split as well. He's had kind of above average ADC performances. This last split just gone, I felt like he was a letdown for a lot of the split.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it came down to Phoenix, Dardoch, and Huni just trying to 3v7.
Yeah. At the same time, I do think Dardoch has a good meta ahead of him. I do think he likes to be able to not only provide pressure from the jungle, but actually be able to, carry a game as a jungler. And I think
he's also been surprising to me because he's been someone I actually have always harped on because he's always so toxic and always tries to say he's
honestly,
the best in the
yeah, we had a discussion at the start of last split where I remember you saying, like, I don't think Dardoch can do well on a team.
And
I think what you're saying is, like, that you've been surprised by him.
I have been, and he's been definitely proving me wrong in the sense that he is finally growing up almost. He's learning how to play with people and how to be a leader and not just be someone who says and talks a big game, but he actually is doing it.
Hey, when Huni's your top laner, you can't blame top anymore.
It's so, like, honestly, I don't think you can be toxic against Huni. I don't think that is possible.
Yeah, Huni just goes in 1v5 flashing into, like, the river full of crocodiles, and yeah, what was it? What was the line? You put a ward in a river full of crocodiles. There's still a 50-50 chance that Huni will TP on it. And yeah, it's like, the thing is, he'll make that play and then go, "Oh, sorry guys," and you just can't be angry at him.
Yeah. All right. We already talked about FlyQuest. Golden Guardians bring on Mickey. I think it's a bit of a step up, but at the same time,
Mickey, another player renowned for toxicity in the past, coming out and saying, "I'm going to be better than Faker. I'm going to be the best mid laner in the LCK." He's the Dardoch of LCK, I think is the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
And he got booted off of Rocks and replaced with a less... Yeah, I think that's almost fair, but because he's never really shown the results. He had potential, but never really showed the results. And he got booted off of Rocks Tigers for actually a worse mid laner, but because they wanted somebody who they'd actually work with the team.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, again, damning for Mickey in terms of his career, and especially when he's got, like, I don't know, it's I don't want to go too deep into this, but Korea is renowned for being a very xenophobic country. So when you put them in a Korean who thinks he's the best in Korea with 3 North American players, how's that going to go when the North American players aren't performing, or
Yeah.
the whole team isn't performing? He's convinced he's doing well.
Yeah, but he's got to be humble because he was in the friggin' academy season just last season, so it's showing the progression of.
I hope he's been humbled. I
Yeah.
really do. But he's on a lot of money on TL as well. Let's be
Yeah.
fair. He got signed. He got signed on a fairly long contract for a lot of money, and they just held on to that contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing we can say to finish off Golden Guardians is trust the process, which no, we're not.
We didn't talk about Optic either, and Optic having picked up Cop. I'm pretty excited for in terms of. I like Cop as a coach. Remember Dignitas when they brought him on? Suddenly
Yeah.
they.
They
Like,
did
'cause
really
Cop,
well.
Dignitas had these Korean coaches who were trying to run it in a very Korean style, and the North American players weren't responding well to that. Cop came in and went, okay. I was actually speaking to R2K, one of the guys who worked at Dignitas for a while at the time, and he was telling me all about how all the players were working, how the team was working, and he said the way that Cop revolutionized how that team looked at practice, and how he was willing to change their mindsets and work with the players so well, really changed and turned it around for Dignitas, and I think he could do that again on this team.
Yeah, coming as well with Big, who I think was with him on Dignitas, right?
I don't remember. I remember the Big that was on Echo Fox, and you're like, get
Big
the
was on-
lotion, get the lotion.
Yeah.
Get the
Big was
lotion,
on,
get the lotion.
Oh God, no!
Grab the lotion on it, skin, or else it gets to the hose again.
But
Yeah.
it's like he's a shot caller. But the thing is, the reason he's a shot caller is his voice is more loud and abrasive than anyone else's in the team in team fights.
And yeah, he was on the Dignitas team, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
and
just
he was,
remember him
and
from
he
his
was
Echo
on
Fox time.
Dignitas. I just wasn't sure if he was on at the same time as Cobb.
Yeah, but we also have to remember Dokla is coming in the top lane, replacing Zig. And honestly, it's like Zig had such a not even lackluster, just
I loved Phoenix One Zig, but
yeah.
I
Phoenix
hated
One Zig was
Yeah.
all right, but just Optic Zig was just a letdown.
Where he kept trying to play Gangplank throughout the split and it never worked.
Yep. Stop trying to make Gangplank work, Gretchen.
Stop trying to make Gangplank happen. It's not gonna happen, Gretchen.
Gangplank doesn't do anything.
Alright.
Oh
Alright, so
God.
yeah.
Now I'm mocking myself. Anyway, Team Liquid, you said they're gonna fall off. I'm honestly gonna say there's no reason for me to believe they're gonna fall off.
After the issues that Ole had, even if it's with his own self-image, in terms of as a player,
Yeah,
I think
so.
it's there's worries. There's worries
There
there.
are a lot of worries.
Also, their bot lane really underperformed last split.
Mm-hmm.
Still think they have
Xmithy,
one of the US.
Xmithy is the core of that team that works incredibly well. If Xmithy isn't performing, that team doesn't work.
The thing though is, what I see with Team Liquid is like they have at least 3, if not 4, like players that have consistently been doing well for years.
Yeah.
Like you have Xmithy doing well for years. You've got Impact, like
Peralta.
Pobelta, even Doublelift to some extent. And I don't see, like I don't see this team falling apart. Maybe they're not going to be as dominant. Maybe they will have to change their style a bit at some point,
Well,
and maybe they might even have to kick somebody at some point. But I don't think, I don't see this team just falling apart.
But the
we
bot lane
never
is rife with inconsistency. We can talk about Doublelift's inconsistencies in the past, especially with international play. We can talk about Ole's inconsistencies in playoffs, because remember when he was on Immortals, the exact same thing happened there. He fell apart in the bot lane. MSI, it happened again. It's happened on multiple teams he's been on, unfortunately, where he's performed really well for a short period, and then it's kind of all fallen apart for him. And I'm not sold 100% on Ole being the rock the team needs in the support role, especially when you have Doublelift as an AD carry. Aphromoo always was that, and that's sad. We'll never see Doublelift Aphromoo ever again, I don't think.
no,
Because
I don't think so.
The reason they worked so well together is Aphromoo is that solid rock. Even when he's on CLG, you can listen to the shot calling, and CLG was down like 8k gold, and he'd still be willing to go, come on guys, we can do this. And they would consistently make comebacks, and
Honestly,
it felt honestly amazing to listen to his calls and how well he was able to calm the team and get them into these situations where they could come back.
I don't think that's.
You need a player like that with Doublelift.
I don't think there's like a ton of resentment between them anymore, but I think they just both said, okay, we're just not gonna do that again, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
No, it's the point I wanted to make was just a quick one that Aphromoo wants somebody who's more of an all-round ADC and is willing to work with the team, but he works best when he's with a mechanically strong ADC who needs to be reined in. And Doublelift works best when he's got a support who's able to tell him what to do, but when Doublelift's this much of a veteran, nobody's willing to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
He's going to do his own thing, and often when he's shot calling, that's an issue for the team. And we've seen his shot calling on TSM be called into question quite often.
Find the cocky support. Find the support in solo queue that doesn't hate himself. That is
Get
cocky.
Dardoch to play support.
That is cocky enough to.
Hey, I mean, maybe he'll be humbled from playing Janna ADC for a while.
Honestly, like the one thing that I think like is kind of funny is like now that Hai is gone from like Golden Guardian's mid lane, like there's so many positions where I think like okay, put him there, like put him into Team Liquid's bot lane, put him into TSM's jungle, put him into all of that shit.
It'd be really funny actually to see him
God.
in one of those roles.
It's just like, hey, there's a caster opening in EULCS. Hey, shove Hai in there. There's a new janitor spot in the LPL. Shove Hai in there.
Oh dear. Oh poor Hai.
Yeah, it's God. At least get him to play in Oceania with value and trance.
Like the fact that he doesn't have a team right now, I think is a bit of a shame. He didn't have the best split, fair enough, but I still think the guy is just an asset overall.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to grow youth players, you keep him around. But beyond that, I don't see any reason to have him as your starting mid laner.
Starting mid laner,
Ever again. I think support, he doesn't want to play.
Right.
So maybe jungle, but okay, we're gonna get into the Cloud9 part. So let's first of all talk. Wait, magical. Let's first of all just talk about anything but what you can't talk about. So let's just talk about the team. Like I know you can't just say, "Oh my god, they suck."
First of all, let's talk about the original starting roster, the original five with Sneaky and Jensen.
Licorice, Svensker, and Jensen, Sneaky, Smoothie.
Yeah. And Magical, we actually want to ask you about this as well, because we want to talk about the C9 in terms of how they performed last split, where do we think this is going.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think that Cloud9, they looked decent last split. I think Licorice really surprised me in how well they were able to play around him. But I'm not really sold on the team as a whole. They got put up against TL in the first round of playoffs and lost 0-3 to them. So I think they can definitely do better than that. But fifth at the end of the season was disappointing, and
it was.
I think a lot of it came down to the fact that they started off really strong. They started up first for
a
the
while.
first like 6 weeks or something.
Undefeated, actually, I think. Until
Yeah.
against Echo Fox, where Licorice picked the Lucian into Huni.
And that's the other thing. Both Echo Fox and C9 both fell hard off as the split went on. So both of them, I honestly think they need to work on being able to be adaptable, not falling into just the pattern of sticking to one play style and only playing around that one play style. Or because one of the biggest issues I remember they had was that they were so willing to play around Licorice in the early stages of the season, and in the later parts of the season, they still kept trying to play around him, and it just didn't work anymore. Because the meta had become, let's all just dive bot lane tower and get the tower, and then roam.
To be fair, if you look at C9 historically, that's kind of how they are. They've always been where they get one strategy, and they try to run with it as long as possible. Think Season 5 Worlds, where they had the Veigar, Tristana, we push clear waves to win the game. They did that all the way through their Miracle run when they made it to Worlds in the first place.
No.
Oh, well, no, they didn't do that strategy. I know they didn't.
No, they didn't. They played Veigar only in week 2 of Worlds.
In Season 5?
In Season 5, yeah. In the Miracle run, I remember Sneaky played 2 games of Draven in the Miracle run for a start.
And Impact just went off.
Impact just went off, but that was before the season. That was after the season 5 Miracle One run. You're thinking season 6. This is still Balls.
Okay, never mind.
But this is when the strategy was actually High just playing Shyvana every game, and Draven, Sneaky. Sneaky was actually carrying on some really interesting
Did I get
champions.
those seasons mixed up then? Because there's the
So no, it was at Worlds they did start playing Tristana Veigar, but that was only in week 2 of Worlds, and they were losing every game.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking this really quick.
Because week 1, remember, that's the Darius that beat Fnatic with the pentakill.
But wait.
They didn't play Veigar throughout week 1, I don't think.
No, they played Veigar week 1 because
Veigar first
yeah,
game I
yeah,
checked.
because they
Veigar, Tristana.
they had the good week 1, and then they
They had a good week
got-
1, but
and
was
then
it,
got- and then
was it
the-
just off of Veigar Tristana? Because I feel like
It was
Veigar isn't
mostly
a champion we
Tristana.
saw more than once in week
It was
1.
mostly Tristana. That was like the main thing, but Veigar was a part of it that
Yeah.
consistently got banned.
and then we had the
Right.
0 and
If it's
10,
consistently banned, that's different. Okay.
and then we had the 0 and
Every single
10
game,
week 2.
If it
week
wasn't
2.
banned, they picked it. If it
And in the
was-
Miracle Run, they didn't play Veigar whatsoever.
No, yeah, it was in Worlds. I was mistaken.
Yeah.
That was a statement. But it was
Yeah.
every time that they played it when it wasn't banned. That like if it wasn't banned, they played it.
I can understand what you're saying, though. They get one strategy, go, this is the strategy that works, and play it entirely.
Mhm.
I hoped it would be different from Reapid, because you think about it, the coaches have changed for C9. Reapid is... I mean, I love the guy. I mean, if you watched any of his karaoke streams, just listening to him singing My Chemical Romance and just screaming it into the microphone surrounded by, like, Impact, Piglet, Mickey was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I do think that he needs to be more adaptable as a coach, because I think this is one of his first coaching roles as well.
That's it.
And this is a guy who used to
Pretty sure
work
he's been around for a while.
Oma. As a coach, I don't think he's been on many teams before this.
Yeah, it was just Edward before that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think he was the head coach for them either.
No, I don't think he was not the head coach. He was just just a coach.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like it's the same as Rapid Star, their assistant coach, was just the assistant coach at SKT. So he's still learning as a coach. I think he's not like hit his peak yet. He's not Prawley where he's coming in and he's instantly a god at coaching, or Como where you just know how to make a roster win worlds the first season you ever try. But it's I need to see C9 able to play multiple playstyles and adapt more during the split. Because you can't just have the meta change after a few weeks and then suddenly they go from first to fifth. That's from first half to second half of the split. That's not okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I think we're gonna transition now into the more controversial topic, and I think Magical wants to grab a drink right now.
Yeah.
It's the C9 roster swap.
I'll be back. I'll be back in a little bit, guys.
I'll be
Okay.
He's a Terminator now.
Is he gone?
He gone. Yeah.
I think he's gone. Okay. C9's trolling.
Yeah.
C9 is hard trolling. They move Jensen, Sneaky, and Smoothie, their most popular players, to the Challenger scene, and then to the Academy scene. Then they have an Academy scene broadcast which is sponsored with Team Sneaky versus Team Jensen on the Arena broadcast, showing how long in advance they'd set that up and how much long they planned that as their promotion. They didn't do this for any kind of competitive integrity. You watch the interview where they're going, yeah, we just think this roster's really playing well together and we want to see how it works out on the LCS stage. So this is our roster for week 1. That's all crap. What they're actually doing is trying to make as much money as possible off of this partnership with the sponsors. And, I mean, with the amount they did, yeah, that's a lot of money to go for that sponsorship. But it was just,
I kind of see
so
the board meeting
painful.
right now. It's like, would you be willing to put your players
we'll
from?
do
you
a
be-
sponsored Academy broadcast only if you put Sneaky, Jensen, and Smoothie.
It's like, no, we're not gonna 60 million. Oh.
I mean, maybe those numbers are a little bit.
No,
overinflated, but
I
get
know.
what you're saying.
Yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying, where it's just like, show me the money first, maybe we'll talk.
yeah, but you know, like it's really hard to think of any other reason. Like we had Kelsey Moser kind of bring up the idea of like, oh maybe it's like maybe Sneaky can't play the off meta shit. Brings out the brand, just brings out the brand.
Yeah, he plays Brand AD carry. It's just kind of like, well, that's out the window. We know the reason now after seeing that broadcast for why they were there.
Yeah,
And we knew it was planned weeks in advance for them to be there, for them to set up that arena broadcast game where it was Team Sneaky versus Team Smoothie.
yeah,
So we know for a fact that this was planned as more than just a last minute. Let's just try
Yeah.
Zazel and Keith on the scene. No, they needed them on that broadcast. So it's not so much as players been brought up as players being sent down, and it was rather interesting.
yeah.
And
Yeah, at the same time, I do want to see what the C9 players, like the academy players, are doing with the opportunity. Like, I don't
Yeah,
think they're
I mean-
gonna be like become starters of C9, but they can at least
I mean,
market
Keith in
themselves.
LCS is still like interesting to see again. It's been a while. Last time he played
Yeah.
was a sub for TSM, I believe.
Was it?
Yep.
I
No,
think
no, no,
wa-
he played on Echo Fox. He played on Echo Fox. That's my
Yeah.
bad. That completely skipped my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, but I thought he was the sub after Echo Fox.
Let me check
No,
this.
he went from being on Team Liquid to being a sub for TSM and switching out for Wild Turtle
okay.
for a little while, then to Echo Fox,
Mm-hmm.
where he played with Big as his support.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But
So
Zazel, I don't know, the guy kind of looks like Peter Jackson. That's all I could say. I don't like the guys. And Golden Glue in the mid lane. Golden Glue is consistently a player people have talked about his potential, but he's never really he's never really shown me that he has potential. Never mind that he can utilize it.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, I'm not sure if he's better than High, but he's really at that sort of level where it doesn't feel like he can compete with the other mid laners.
all right, so you two already gave your prediction. I think I already kind of implied it, and it's not very spectacular, but I think I have to go with Team Liquid. I don't see them dropping off.
So we're not talking about Optic making the run to Worlds. When does Optic play, guys?
Yeah.
Did TSM wondered?
All right, we got
Green Wall.
We got 2 more regions to cover, and I'm tired, so let's go.
Let's go.
LPL.
All right, LPL.
Oh,
Okay.
The
so-
biggest fuckfest in League of Legends right now.
So there's only
To be
one
fair,
thing-
they all like they had to be a fuckfest because they were the first to send out into the like horde of lions, and they're like, let's try this. Let's
Fallout,
try
it's
this.
Fallout 76. They're the first people to get sent
Yeah.
out to the wastelands.
It's like, what are we doing? we're Darius, okay, give me that.
They're finding bits and pieces of scraps. It's like, oh, I found a rifle. That's gonna help me.
I found
yeah.
nothing but banner of commands. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
You just become Snake.
It's
Maybe
it's like if you play Diablo and you want to build one build, but the game just keeps giving you set pieces for the other build, and just
You're like,
Go
I
on,
guess I'm
go.
doing this now. You're like, I guess this is my life now.
It
If I
kind of
had
reminds
no
me of like
friends,
this.
I would
This is
say-
more of a Hearthstone thing, but like when Pirate Warrior was really prevalent, I got the daily quests and I had 3 daily quests at once. It was play 10 pirates, play 10 weapons, deal 100 damage to the enemy face. It's like, well, I guess I'm playing Pirate Warrior now.
Anyway, yeah. So Banner of Command, best game to watch if you want to know why it was removed. Just watch Fun Plus Phoenix versus Snake.
70% damage in general. Why?
It's 40%.
Why?
This is still on that
Oh,
updated patch.
Wait, I thought they were still playing on the not updated
No,
one.
that's a different mid-season, mid-patch update. It was the previous mid-patch update that they did
Yeah,
that.
like
That was
the
8.10.
banner was like the
Okay.
day one hotfix.
I was about to say because I thought
Yeah.
they left it at the
Banner was a day one hotfix on 8.10. 8.11 was the hotfix to Talia and Yasuo.
That's what it was. That's what. Okay, that's what it was.
So,
I got it mixed up because I thought
yeah.
it was the. Because I'm like, it was just so dumb. That the
Yeah.
70% in the first place is just absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
But 40% is still pretty bad from all sources.
Magical, I heard you started there. No, it is retarded. It is retarded. It just is.
All right. So,
I'll try not to pull a Sid moment.
Other than that-
it's just like you go. It's pretty stupid.
like, let's talk about this a bit. Like, I think RNG is still looking like far and away the best team, honestly.
No,
Even
what are you talking
with
about?
Able, they're still looking really
What are
impressive.
you talking about? There's only one team in the LPL, and that's Snake.
Every team, every region outside of NA is a one-team region.
Exactly. Then you guys know this. There's only one team in each region outside of it.
Who's Gigabyte? I only know Evos.
Yeah, only Evos.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, RNG. I mean, honestly, it's just insane that they're not even playing with Uzi and they still look so freaking powerful.
Yeah.
Like, it's absurd.
I mean, I'm excited for IG once they get the Shy back, but it's so sad that they're still stuck with
Yeah.
Duke. Duke isn't a bad player. It's just Duke isn't the Shy.
Yeah.
he's not the Shy, but at the same time, right now, IG is undefeated. I mean, they're 2-0. They have a 4-1. They've only lost the one game. It's like they're doing pretty damn well for themselves without the Shy.
Yeah. They're all right. Honestly, as the way I see China right now is, they could probably just skate through to probably even worlds without
Well,
the
they're
Shy.
the best region right now. So the entirety of the LPL since they won MSI, they're currently the reigning champion. So whoever is the top team of the LPL is going to be should be the front runner team for Worlds.
Yeah. So far, it looks like RNG is gonna be that team. I think IG and EDG have like the best chances to get to Worlds, honestly.
Yeah, agreed.
Um,
No, I want to see how Team WE is going to be now that they have Imp. I want to see how Imp changes things for WE.
haha,
I don't think he's going to start, honestly. It's happening
You don't
right now,
think
as if actually we want to look.
Yeah, actually, let's take a look at that because we could probably.
RNG versus Kingzone replay is showing right now.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, so once they show it, we'll be able to say because I'm curious to see if they do start him, how he does because I honestly he didn't look that great on LGD to begin with.
yeah,
But it would be interesting to see if maybe it was the team or if it's just Imp not being nearly to the degree that he was when he won Worlds.
Mhm.
It's a possibility.
LGD. Honestly, on the one hand, they're still gonna be pretty bottom of the pack, but honestly, I like to see that they are rebuilding.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm looking at the next game, Rogue Warriors versus OMG, and I mean, this is god, I need to show you guys this. Sorry, give me 1 minute. This is the loading screen image for the game, and
The heart.
it's Doenby with the heart. Doenby being the adorable little Korean boy that he is, and Icon on the other side with his new edgy boy tattoos. It's
Let me
have you-
let me get that on screen.
He's got the Asade.
oh god. I need to actually go to the LPL English Twitter because they did an image when he got the man of the match that was absolutely classic.
Yeah.
Yes, here it is. It's it's the most fabulous thing I've seen in the LPL for a while. Here you go, look at this image, Magical.
I hope Louis
So that
gets
is what's happening right now.
Yeah, that's Doenby's an adorable Korean boy. I gotta say, I've had a soft spot for Doenby since pretty much since he started.
But just
and,
Icon with the Asa, you know.
and you see the other one, Louis, the icon image.
I like the Asade.
Yeah.
But no, okay, going back to the LPL, honestly, I'd be if RNG doesn't just take the split, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
Because they,
I mean, when they're running Abel instead of Uzi, though, I think
Like-
there's more of an ability to be punished over time.
but they won Demacia Cup with Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, it's Demacia Cup.
Yeah. Also, they lost some games there. Honestly,
It's like Jindong made finals of Demacia Cup last split, something like semi-finals.
Semi-finals.
Really,
because it was
yeah,
really
semi-finals. Yeah.
nobody's taking that seriously. But honestly, if IG can get their full roster to the finals, I see that being an interesting game.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
if we go East and West, so looking at East, gotta give I'd give RNG, Victus, and probably Billy the top 3. Then West, Snake is by far the best team ever to ever been conceived by League of Legends in the history of ever. So obviously they're number 1. Then Edward, and then probably Rogue Warrior after that.
Okay, I just want to go back to EULCS because I just read this.
Okay. Wait, what
It's
is it?
at Freeze, at Thorin, at Steelback. Steelback, you are from Forgiven. Steelback, you are the most giga-boosted AD I've ever seen in the EULCS, and you're playing in the garbage teams you deserve to play. You know it yourself. Don't answer and try to mimic. Don't answer and try to mimic the UOL split in which you were actually sufferable.
Wait, where's this?
It's in the chat I just sent you, and this is a tweet from about 40 minutes ago.
Oh my god.
Forgiven's army training. He's
Yeah,
shooting the
yeah,
shit. Jesus Christ.
Like honestly, like the guy has nothing to lose. Like nobody's gonna remember this. Like if he ever wants to come back, nobody's gonna remember this tweet in 2 years. So he just can't. He can just do whatever he wants to right now.
Honestly, this is how he's been forever. He is willing to call out other AD carriers and say, "You were playing dog shit."
Yeah, but,
Remember
like,
how many
not-
times he's called out reckless.
I don't think any like he has gone this far before.
I feel like this has to be the turnaround thing for Steelback after reading this. You can't read that and then go, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. He's just talking shit." This is a guy who's actually
yeah.
respected.
He's respected, and at the same time, Forgiven probably at this point in time is just like, fuck it, I really don't care. I can't play for a couple more years. I'm just gonna say the biggest shit I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's not afraid. Yeah.
Also, at the same time, staying in the public eye while
Yep.
being away. It's interesting.
Exactly.
Um,
Wait, oh god, because the initial tweet thread is, "I'm not sure if Lucian is useless or if it's Steelback." And then Steelback's like, "You're a better tweeter than player Grats. You found your way to success." Thorin stepping in, I guess you better step up your Twitter game then, or you're both behind in both categories. Mon ami. Of course, Thorin has to ruin it. No man, he is an LCS ADC, and I'm washed up and dying of old age from freeze.
All right.
And Forgiven just calls Steelback the fuck out.
Yeah.
all right.
Good God.
So
Oh my god.
rounding up China, I always like you have like those like 4 to 5 teams that's like, okay, they are there. No, but like you can still kind of talk about like, okay, what is Optic doing? Like nobody in the West, I think, really gives a shit anymore about like Vici, LGD, FunPlus, and Top Sports. Like nobody.
Hey,
They kinda
LGD's still a mess, my dudes. It's
Yeah, that they still haven't fucking recovered from. God, what season was that? Where they just
Season 5 World Championship
Season
where they
5,
got
he-
dicked on by Origin.
They were the front runners for the whole thing.
They look-
Everyone's like,
yeah.
this is the top team. They're gonna
Yeah.
challenge Korea, and then just nope. They still have not recovered from that.
Yeah, they got beaten in week 1 by both TSM and Origin. In
right.
week 2, they tied with TSM by beating everyone in their group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they weren't able to get past that still.
Yeah, but then again, look at their group: Origin, TSM, KT in that season.
Yeah,
It was never going to be easy.
Yeah.
very true.
So, honestly, I don't know. I don't like Billy. I had some fun with Aime at some points, but really they have perfected the art of like taking one of their jungle halves, clearing the waves in the lanes, and just scaling up to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And I hope this isn't working for them, in this split.
It's the thing that really bothered me in the Demacia Cup was how they just went, let's just farm to late game. That's how we'll beat teams. And other teams actually tried to play proactive styles. They just played for the late game and won because of it. It was actually really tilting to watch because teams just couldn't punish it hard enough in the earlier stages. And
Yeah.
every team wanted to do some kind of meme or like some kind of gimmick in their composition where like they're running Yasuo ADC,
Which is now a
Um,
thing.
Able.
which is now a thing. But this was before the AD carry nerfs.
Yeah.
They were still running Yasuo ADC,
Mhm.
and it kind of went unpunished until they went up against RNG, and RNG were just able to out macro them.
Yeah.
And out team fight them in those later stages.
All right, we're now almost 2 hours and let's jump into the LCK because I need to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
um,
So LCK is God. If we thought LPL was best,
Genji.
GG. But yo, what about
honestly, like,
Griffin?
yeah, honestly, with Genji, the way I see it right now is just they have found a consistent five that wants to play with each other, and they're winning.
Yeah, it's a composition that actually has some ambition without having ambition.
Haha. We got Fly doing way better than he has any right to, honestly.
Yeah, it's
Fly's actually doing really
Fly
well. We mentioned
really played well, especially on that Aurelion Sol. But I think we have to say Kingzone's still disappointing. They've still not fully recovered from MSI. Maybe the fact that Peanut didn't get to start with the team as well because he was at the Asian Games didn't help.
Yeah.
And especially when you start the team start this season against not Genji, as the Korean crowd had to learn very quickly.
Genji.
Yeah, but they, if you don't know, the LCK staff had to call out the fans because they were saying Genji every time, and it was giving Blizzard free press.
Ah. Yeah. Probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, Genji looking very good, honestly.
Honestly, I'm really impressed by them and just with what they're turning around, how they kind of changing it. But at the same time, it's the beginning of the season for them, so we'll see how other teams are kind of able to formulate around it. I mean, Griffin is the number 2 team, the team that came in from the promotion tournament. So it's like, is Griffin just that good, or is it just?
I mean, let me actually check their matchups. I don't think they played MVP and Hanwha. So
Life. So no, Griffin are not the best team
They-
right
they-
now.
they-
Probably
I'm
middle of the
just-
pack.
they have proven themselves to be a middle of the pack team by now. But
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
Genji played
Well-
against Kingzone, which is fair, but then they played against the ghost and the former shell of SKT. So it's like they had one hard matchup, yes.
I think SKT, even though they destroyed them so hard, was still telling for the roster as a whole, in terms of like how well they were able to step up and
yeah.
just shut down that SKT roster.
Yeah, we did see the like Blossom, Master Yi jungle, and Faker on Taric.
Faker Taric.
Like
Heartbreaking.
Faker was the only competitive Master Yi for seasons, and then
I know.
Yeah.
when Weir's matter, and they could just give it to him. No, we're just giving it to the Taric. We're just giving him the Taric, and
So I'd like to know if that was his call or if it was the coaching staff, because that's something you kind of want to know. If like he's just like, no, I do want to play the meta. I'm the mid laner. I should play Taric. Or if it's like the coaching staff say, okay, we're gonna give this to Blossom. He's gonna do this, and because it's heartbreaking. It really is.
Yeah, it's you hate to see it, you hate to hear it. It's
Yeah. So we got
it's sad. It's sad for Faker that he's now ascended LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really feels that way. Where basically, like, Faker tried last Worlds. Like he was the Kobe in Game 2 that like dropped 50 and was like, I'm gonna do this, and then this team still lost. And
Kobe.
nah, actually, LeBron James. Anyway.
Yeah, I got what you meant,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah, and now he is he's LeBron James in Game 2, where he's like, yeah, let's pass the ball, and if you can't score, we're not gonna win. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, drop in 50 points, but that's basketball. Basketball is a very much like one-player sport in terms of you can build an entire roster around one or two players, even though you end up having about 15 on a roster.
Yeah.
So with Kingzone's kind of slump, we've seen KT and Afrika both win a game. I'm having the stream
KT
up.
looked really good, actually. I think KT is my favorite team in the LCK right now.
Yeah, I mean Rush still suffering from Lee syndrome on Nocturne, but
The Nocturne having to flash out and
Yeah.
revived by Guardian.
it was
I mean,
beautiful.
He's still got the PTSD from NA. He's still got Lee syndrome, even after all these years. Even after all this time, always.
Even after all this time, his mind is telling him yes, but his body is telling him no. No, other way around. Anyway,
Yeah.
No, that's the problem. His mind's telling him yes, and his body's getting injured and telling him no.
meanwhile, Afrika is 1-0 up, and score is coming in. So
It's Keen! Sorry, I
Yeah.
love Keen on Aatrox. He's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah,
Honestly-
KT. Oh, I have to say, Afrika's the number one team in the LCK right now, but KT's still the team that I'm looking to support this season.
Wait, you said Afrika is the number one team?
I would say that Afrika's the number one team
Like-
right now in terms of like. Did you watch the previous split? Sorry, the previous series. They look so clean against SKT.
I was about to say, like, I definitely.
we're not talking scoreboard right now. We're talking about like
Yeah.
who we think is the best team right
yeah.
now.
I think Afrika can win because initially I thought
Yeah.
I talked about this a few days ago with you, Louis. I thought KT will probably win LCK. Why not Afrika? Because I think KT is going to step up and they're actually going to learn from their mistakes. With Yukal instead of Pawn, they can continue improving. But seeing how Afrika played this first couple series is actually like,
Yeah,
okay, I think
They've been
Afrika can
on
win
point.
this.
I think
Yeah.
they have a possibility, but I still label them as a dark horse for this. While I say, right now,
Another
it's
new
Panda.
LCK title
at,
win
at
would be
some
amazing.
at some point we have to stop that though. Like at some point we have to stop calling Afrika a dark horse. They went second last season, like last
Yeah.
split. So we
Kuro and
the
Tucson
reason-
up there in MVP
like
points
if
as
they
well,
make
that's
if they make playoffs in like at least second place or something, or even third
yeah.
place, I think we have to
Well-
stop calling them a dark horse and calling them an
reason I
actual
still call them-
actual
The
contender.
reason I call them the dark horse though is because I think KT and Genji are the ones that are considered like the two top ones. Like not even Kingzone. Kingzone I actually put below Afrika's on my tier list of how teams go. I'd say it's KT, Genji, Afrika's, and then Kingzone.
Hmm.
That's kind of how I put it at the moment. But at the same time, Afrika's are a damn good team. Like Icer was saying, just their last series was a show of force. That was them saying, okay, we aren't the dark horse anymore, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Dude. This is the team that you do have to fear, but I want to see them keep that up.
Yeah,
Sorry, Aatrox being back is just like Keen on Aatrox was dicking on SKT. And I was just thinking about it, and it's it's good to see Aatrox back. I mean, last time we really saw Aatrox play competitively well, I think you got to look back to like season 4 Worlds with Cyanide. No, season 3.
three.
Season 3 Worlds with Cyanide, where he played tank Aatrox jungle.
Yeah,
And had it nerfed because it got gutted because he was too good on it.
yeah. So I want to talk about Junior because I it's a bit disheartening because like right now they're not running Cacao, and while I do
Well, they
kind
ran
of
Kakao yesterday.
they did okay, never mind then.
They started off without running Kakao. They ran Kakao yesterday, and honestly, Kakao got kind of dicked on by Peanut in the early game. It was Camille
Yeah, he
versus Nocturne, and Kakao really struggled in that matchup. But the whole thing is, like, I had a lot of hope for that roster. Kakao is still fairly new. They've got time to adapt, but the thing is, they've got Teddy, they've got Kakao, they've got a lot of faith from me in that roster, but they're not really giving me much faith with the way they're playing.
Yeah,
Mm,
it is kind of like enough.
yeah.
unlucky to kind of see how it's been going for them,
Like-
where they have the talent, but they're just not able to really.
Yeah.
Wait, what's going on in LCK, guys? Famed ADC score playing Nocturne.
Yeah.
What
like,
is this?
I honestly, with Junair though, like the thing that I kind of hoped was that Kakao would bring more aggression into the roster and just have them be like a really nasty team to deal with. And right now, I didn't see that from them. Like,
That's not
Honestly, we thought the same when Trick went to Barbecue. We were like, oh, that kind of really controlling jungler style that he was so adept at in EU. Be interesting to see if he can bring that to. Nope, he just sucks and gets subbed out for Bono.
Yeah.
Bono, of course, short for Bonobo.
so let's talk about Kingzone a bit because, like, we said that they fell off, but really, like, why do you think that is, and can they fix it? Like, they have been running Cuz a bit more at MSI. Is that a solution?
They ran Cuz in one of the games, but that was against Genji, to be fair.
Yeah.
So when they ran Peanut, they looked much better. And is this going to be like? Remember, exactly the same thing happened last split. The first series of the split, they lost to Samsung, then proceeded to go undefeated,
For the
other
rest
than
of the
one game where, other than one series where Khan had to sub out due to illness.
Yeah, and I think honestly, for the side of Kingzone, it's really going to be dependent on the thing with Kingzone is what their problem is. What my prediction of MSI was. If they lose one game, they're going to fall apart. That is exactly what happened at MSI. They fell apart because they needed to win in the earlier stages of the tournament to be able to bounce back.
I think they
never
fall
got
apart mentally is the issue, and it's because
Right, well,
Khan
that's
doesn't
what I
have the
was gonna say.
experience on the international stage, and
Exactly.
you look at how he mentally fell apart as that tournament went on.
Right, and that's the problem for Kingzone, where honestly, I feel like you look at last split. They kind of had the shakeups early. They got that loss out early, and then they grew back up. They were able to kind of figure out what they wanted to do for the rest of the split and didn't win.
I think they
Yeah.
can. I think they can still be a contender this split. The exact same
I
thing
think
happened
they
last split.
can.
They got 2-0'd by Samsung in the first series, and then proceeded to go pretty much undefeated, other than one series to Jinner, as I mentioned.
Well,
Where
that's where we're gonna have to look at and see how they're gonna be able to perform when these next games come up. If they
Yeah, because they performed really well against was it Jinner? Yeah, Jinner yesterday. They performed really solidly and looked really strong again. They won 2-1, but
Yeah.
in the
There's
one game they
2-1.
lost, they were playing Graves Brom, to be fair.
yeah.
And then the other game they won, they were playing against Graves Brom. So when they abandoned that, it actually became a really interesting game. Teddy got pretty fed on Draven, but other than that, it was Darius versus Draven pretty much the entire game,
Yeah.
with Peanut on Nocturne trying to remove anybody he can from the game.
Yeah.
So I think that Kingzone still has. I have a lot of faith in them in terms of
They're my number 3
They-
team, though.
they will perform, but I don't think they're going to win the split. I think they've shown me that Khan doesn't have that mental fortitude, even if the rest of the members do.
And also, I don't think they have found a style yet. Honestly, I think they're all playing. They're all playing. At least in Springfield, they have all been playing like to their ability and kind of know how to play a game. But I didn't never really see like a proper style from them. Like I never really knew what really to expect from them. I knew they were going to play well, but I didn't really know like what are they looking for in a draft? What are they looking for on the map? Who are they putting priority on for the gold on? Especially in this meta, you really need to know that I have that shit sorted out.
Right.
Anyway, tied with them is MVP, so they're back.
MVP. I love MVP. They're probably my favorite team in the LCK, even though I don't think they're any good. I love them still, but honestly, I think that they're a good team that likes to innovate. They like to change, but I'll be happy if they get 6th place. That's kind of how I look at them right now.
So you'd rather
I'm
than
kinda
like,
nervous for MVP.
So you'd rather make them? Should rather have them not make it playoffs.
No, I just don't think they're going to.
Okay.
I'd be happy if they got 6th place. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Is there anything to add? Oh, sorry, Asa. Anything to add?
Not really anything to add on MVP other than, I mean, I've always thought Yondu's a really good player. I think he's got a lot of strength, and I just need to see him be able to play these carries well enough.
Yeah.
All right. So that really leaves us with 2 teams. So who's gonna give me a hot take on the barbecue Olivers?
They suck.
Hot take.
I feel really sorry for Ignar, and he moved from Misfits where he wanted to stay, and Misfits wanted him to stay. They were just waiting for the other one to talk, and he's been put on a team that's pretty garbage, and they're not really finding any strength in any lane. They're not really performing, and he doesn't really have the same AD carry he did in Han Summer. This guy who can pop off.
I'd love to see him back in the EU.
I would too, and I think he wants him back. He just
Yeah.
give him to the end of the split. I mean, with Misfits running, what is it, Mickey and Senkux? I think, yeah, you could see him come right back in.
Yeah.
So last team, Hanwha Live Esports. Former Rocks.
New name, new pretty name for a team that's the exact same.
I mean, it sounds like the name of an insurance company, because it is the name of an insurance company.
Well, they're gonna need it because they're gonna get fucked.
They need that life insurance, yeah.
I mean, there's not really much to say about them. They're literally just they're Rock Tigers. You can take the name away, but
I thought League already had life insurance, though, because when you die, you get 1 extra gold.
that's not really that good of insurance when you think of it.
Hey, nobody said it was good.
Like, let's see what the price of gold is. Gold price.
It depends what quality magical, but
Well,
Also-
I'm gonna
also-
go high quality. I'm gonna act like it's high quality.
Hardware Life probably middle of the pack.
Also,
for playing out
what
playoffs,
size
fighting
is
with
a
Jinna.
what size is a League of Legends gold piece?
All right, so let's assume that it's like an ounce, right? That sounds like a
Isn't-
good, right?
Isn't that a little for a coin?
Is that?
I
Is
mean,
that
we don't know what an ounce is. We don't speak Empire. I mean,
Yeah.
Imperial.
Yeah.
It's okay. The Empire did nothing wrong. Okay, now here we go. Here we go.
Thank you as a Brit. I really appreciate that.
So,
I feel like I've been absolved of everything.
okay, so gold price for in pennyweight. That's a good one. So it's $63.95.
Yeah, you get $63 for dying.
Dying.
That is fucking terrible insurance. You better get better insurance if you're getting that kind of money. God fucking damn it.
And how long have I been waiting for this, though, quickly? I just want to... Because, I mean, Handle Life, yeah, they're going to be middle of the pack fighting with Jinna, but Kramer's playing ADC Gangplank. Oh,
I recently heard about like a noir film, which it was like really crazy. It's about an insurance salesman who, with the wife of a guy, is trying to scam his own life insurance. Like he is a salesman for that, and basically they don't really have to kill him. Like they have to make it look like an accident. They have found out in the contract there's a clause that if he gets murdered, the insurance is doubled. So they have to make it look like somebody else murdered.
Oh my god. See, now that's good insurance.
My favorite life insurance policy thing is actually there's the tale of Durable Mike Malloy. It's this Irish guy in New York, and these guys approach him and say, "Hey, if you sign this life insurance policy, we will pay for your drinks, like all your drinks, as many drinks as you want, forever, pretty much." And
So the end of your life.
like it's like he signs this policy. He pays them a small amount in terms of like his life insurance payment, and then they're losing money because he's drinking so much. And they've set it up so they're screwing him, and they get the payout if he dies.
Right.
Oh.
So they
Wait, but they get the payout from
they
their own
start-
insurance.
Yeah, I know. So it's like the thing is they've set up it wasn't like they weren't the insurance company. It was them setting up a payment policy with an insurance
okay,
company. People
okay.
approached them and said, "Can we set up life insurance with you? Well, we'll pay for your drinks if you allow us to set up." Basically, going like they plan on killing him. He drinks so much that they're like he's still not dying. So they start like giving him just straight ethanol. He still doesn't die. So he gets so drunk one night, they strip him naked, cover him with water, and throw him on a snowbank in New York. He walks back into the bar and goes, "Last night, I'm not sure what the hell happened, but I woke up naked on a snowbank. The hell, guys? All right, now I want to drink." Unfortunately, after all this guy lived through, I think it was 4 or 5 attempts at his life, until they just shove a gas pipe down his neck and
Killed him.
kill him. But they ended up going to prison because they were found out. But the tale of durable Mike Malloy, it's what I love.
That's pretty good. That was a good one.
All right, I think we're gonna skip any talks about like the Asian games or the.
Because there's not really any information released other than
Yeah.
Faker might have carried on Yasuo,
Yeah.
and Saudi Arabia made the finals.
Yeah. Also, I think we're gonna push the talks about like the Latin America League to the next
Yeah.
to the next one, and just gonna cut it off here. Last 2 hours and 20. My name's been Louis. That one's that one's Magical. That one's Acer, and we're out.
I'm a laptop.